What's up, my friends in film fandom? Welcome back. Wherever you may be, however you may be watching, thank you for giving us just a little bit of your time. A whole lot of news that really popped off over the course of the last 24 hours or so, and we're here to go over all of it. Boy, the face of this show really changed over, like, last night as I was sitting down to finalize everything. That was when the stuff about the Joker sequel came out, and Ezra Miller dropped another, bomb of stupidity on us all. And I was like, okay, so instead of talking about some feel-good stories and doing our retro review, we're going to have some other headier stuff to talk about. But here to talk about all that stuff with me is, as always, my awesome crew of film fans, the first of which being the Dowager Countess Lady Cora. How are you tonight, ma'am?
I'm great. I didn't have to work a full 12 hours today, and I'm going to go see a movie this weekend at the drive-in. So.
You only worked 8 hours, is that what you're saying?
It was more like 10 and a half, but it was 12. So
lazy. This coming from the guy who had the entire day off today and was sitting in front of his computer getting a stream together. So, whatever. Also with me, as always, my hetero life mate, Jeremy. What's going on with you, my man?
Well, I did not work today, but that was kind of by my own choice and kind of not. So it was a good day.
We'll give Jeremy a chance to talk about that at some point later on the show. It was a bit of a Mother Nature induced adventure.
But I mean, I still called in just at 9 and want to go. So yeah, that was all me.
Absolutely. You probably weren't the only one, in all fairness.
No, I don't think I was.
But also, because we've been so steeped in the Jurassic World and everything dino for the last several weeks, we have here the Brooding Gamer. What's going on, my man?
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Can we keep you forever every Thursday? You're awesome.
My fiance is very happy to have me off on some Thursdays, so I may pop in here and there if I'm allowed.
Take it. We'll take it.
Well, certainly we're going to have you back on Monday because as you guys know, we've been going through the Jurassic Park and / Jurassic Park films one by one over the course of the last several weeks, doing our retro movie reviews of those in the lead up to the big spoiler discussion we're going to be having for Jurassic World Dominion. That's going to be coming Monday at about 8:15 or so. So come join us for that. Everything Jurassic World Dominion, we're all going to see it over the course of the weekend. We'll be going in publicly, spoiler alerts all over the place, breaking down everything that went down in that movie. So make sure you come back and check us out on Monday for that. And then, of course, on Thursday for all your craziness that goes on in the world of entertainment that we're going to talk about. But, it's been a bit of a crazy 24 hours with all kinds of interesting stories happening. Lady Cora, what's the first one we're getting into tonight?
Well, fans of the Scream films were shocked to hear that franchise stalwart Neve Campbell would not be returning for the upcoming 6th installment of the series. During an interview with The Hollywood Reporter, the star revealed that she thought the offer made to her to return as Sidney Prescott was, quote, not equal to the value I have brought to the franchise, end quote. Jeremy, do you think it will work out, or will the Scream films be moving on from its biggest star?
There's nothing wrong with moving on as long as you do it correctly. Because, 6 movies, that's a pretty long run. And the other, I don't know. I'd say the first one was classic. I don't know about the sequels. They kind of just blended together in my head. But the last one we saw, it was nice. It's a nice reunion, and some stuff happened where I'm like, well, we know somebody's not coming back. Spoiler alert. The one I wanted to live the most is the one that didn't come back, unfortunately. But it was just, it's like, okay, cool, kind of fan service. It's nice. If there's a way we can move on without him, which would be a nice testament, the series can stand up without its, original cast members. I assume we don't know anything about, like, Courtney Cox. Like, is she going to do anything? Because I don't know what, she'd be the only one left if there was. I don't know, but it would kind of suck not having her there. And I know with the whole thing with DiMaggio with Futurama, where it's like, I'm not coming back because of pay, and I'm like, I'll wait. And then, to no surprise, he tries to slide back in. We're back, bitch! Shut up! I knew you were coming back. Stop. Like, I don't know what to believe, and it's not you can't believe them because they're actors. No, it's just I'm like, okay, until it happens, until it comes out, and I see whether you are or are not there. I don't know. That's my opinion.
Brooding Gamer, what do you think?
I think it's bullshit, to be honest with you. Are we allowed to cuss tonight?
She should just do it for whatever money they offer for the sake of like.
No, I really don't. I'm with her on this one. That she's been the face, no pun intended. You know, when you have a singular face on the screen at all times, she is the face of that movie. You know, she's, in my opinion, she is the Jamie Lee Curtis to Michael Myers. You know, it's always been Sydney. Like, it's always been that. So the fact that they wouldn't offer her whenever you hear the word or the term, what is it? The final girl.
Yeah.
I remember I was playing South Park, the South Park game the other night, and there's a horror DLC, and you become the final girl. She created the final girl, the whole gonna be a badass and everything. And the fact that they're not willing to pay her to reflect all the things that she's done, it's just, when she wasn't in, was it Scream 5? Was she, or not Scream 5, but Scream 4? Was she not in Scream 4? I think she took a break from one of them.
I don't know.
There was one of them she wasn't in, and everybody was kind of just like, where the hell is Sydney? Like, what the hell? I personally think they kind of screwed up on that one. That's like coming out and saying, sorry, Jamie Lee Curtis, we're paying this. we're paying your granddaughter more money than we're going to pay you, even though you are the right hand of the whole. I don't know. That's just my opinion on this whole thing. I think they made a mistake.
I don't know, Cora. What do you think?
I've never seen any of the Scream movies.
Well,
I mean,
the reality is, look here, and this is funny. You mentioned Jamie Lee Curtis. Jamie Lee Curtis and Neve Campbell are the only final girls that have really kind of lasted for their entire franchise. Like I said, with the exception of the one. Now, the Jamie Lee Curtis, for another reason, is a very interesting comparison, because the one or two movies they've done without her in the Halloween franchise were not very well received. It seems like all the other ones, at least, they were kind of like, meh, they're okay. But the ones that didn't have them were like the real, true fans of that franchise are like, this movie's terrible, I never want to watch it. I don't even count it as part of the franchise. It's just garbage, I want to throw it away. So it's interesting to me that they would want to risk even contemplating a Scream without her, because I think it was 4 that didn't have her or something like that, or maybe she just played like a quick cameo or something. She wasn't significant in the movie at all. That is one of the movies of this franchise that everybody kind of shits on. Now, full disclosure, I have not been a big fan of the entire Scream franchise. I thought the first one was okay. I think everything after that was kind of...
Are these parodies or actual horror movies? I forget.
Yes.
There's so many things.
Yes, they are both.
They've been both at times. But yeah, the first one I thought was good. Everything after that kind of just got worse and worse and worse. And then this last one, Scream 5, that came out, I thought was almost as good as the original. Not quite, but almost. There were some things about it that just didn't hit me very well. But I mean, really, can you do this without her and have it sell? Because you really only got two choices. Either you pay her, which is what I think is going to happen. I think she's negotiating through the media. It's exactly what we saw with the thing with Bender that we talked about months ago. I think she's negotiating through the media. So they're going to end up signing her again. But you only really have two choices.
You don't think she's boxed herself into not being in it?
No. Because she's got a career outside of Scream.
Okay.
She can go do whatever she wants. She's been really, really good in some really, really good movies. She's got her career. She doesn't need Scream. Scream needs her. So they box themselves into a corner by giving her. They've boxed themselves into a corner by giving her a shitty offer that she thinks is beneath her, because she has no qualms about walking away right now. She's been in a whole lot of movies. She's been in a whole lot of good movies. She's been really, really good in these movies. Like, 54, about Studio 54 back in the day with Michael Myers and Ryan Felipe and all that. That was a killer movie. She's been in a lot of stuff. She's got options that people are making this movie don't. They need her in this movie. So, I mean, they only really have two choices. Like I was saying, you either pony up and give her the money to bring her back, or you reboot the whole damn thing and just start over again. You cast a whole new Sydney, a whole new Stu, a whole new whatever the hell Skeet Ulrich's name was. I keep wanting to call him Steve. I don't know if that's right or not. You cast all new characters, all new actors, and go back to the beginning and just start over again and do a full-blown reboot. That's the best thing you can do. I actually like the idea of a full-blown reboot. If you can't bring her back to play this role, I like the idea of a full-blown reboot. modernize it a little bit differently than what you did with the last movie with Scream 6. I actually really liked that scene where there was like the whole like app on the phone locking the doors and unlocking and all that shit. I actually really liked that scene. I thought it was kind of fun.
That was interesting.
I thought it was a fun way to show how modernized that we've gotten to this point in this franchise. But those are your two choices. You either go ahead and pony up and pay her, which is what they're going to end up doing because they don't want to look like assholes, or you just reboot the whole damn thing and start over. But the problem is the hardcore fans probably aren't really going to like that.
Well, unless they can be self-aware about the fact that it's a reboot. You know what I mean? You can kind of tie in the jokes and the satirical stuff of like, well, this is what happened, and this movie's like kind of like a personification of Deadpool, where it's just self-aware and making jokes all the time. You know, he walks in a house, he's like, "It's funny, I only ever see two of you. Like, you know, they couldn't afford you or something." Like, walks to the camera, like walks away.
Couldn't afford any more X-Men.
Right. I'm like. So, I mean, they even kind of had that in the last movie when they're all in that living room, whatever, having that discussion about, you know, kind of like the rules discussion like they always have. So, you could do it that way and still make a joke of it and kind of, you know, it doesn't have to be like completely awkward where you're trying to, you know, reboot it and it just feels weird. But, yeah, if this doesn't work out and they can't get her back, I mean, what else would you do?
Yeah, but like I said, they've painted themselves into a corner. If you don't have her back, then you're the one screwing yourself. Because even if they do a full-blown reboot, which I wouldn't mind them doing, like I said, the hardcore fans are going to be switched off. I mean, you want to. I did not realize up until the last probably 6 or 8 months just how like feverish fans are about this franchise and are really into it. Our good friend Knight over at the Night Watch Zone, it seems like he does 3 or 4 videos a week on this upcoming film, and they haven't even written the script yet.
Oh, wow.
like, actually, that's not entirely true. Well, maybe it's not true. They are, let's see. Shooting is due to begin this summer for a March 31st, 2023 release schedule. So that's what it says in this article from THR. But it's like, so yeah, I mean, you've got a huge fan base that likes these films. And if you do a total reboot, you're going to turn them off. But it's better than like running Neve Campbell out and trying to continue the story without her. So, I like I said, I think they kind of screwed themselves. I think now they have to pay her because if you don't have her back, you're going to have all of your fans that you depend on to buy these tickets hating you.
They don't follow the mask; they follow Sydney.
That's true. but you know, it's like you were saying earlier, Brooding Gamer. It's her and Jamie Lee Curtis. They are the only 2 final girls, the 2 horror queens that have managed to last the vast majority of their franchise.
I like that.
Scream
Horror queens.
Yeah.
I like
I'm
that a lot,
thinking
too.
multi-pop figure box, the horror queens.
Yeah, even like
There was a set of just the final girls. That'd be sweet.
yeah, but I mean, go like Nightmare on Elm Street. It's a different girl for most of the movies, except for Wes Craven's New Nightmare, which they brought back the girl from the original. That was a cool concept, but I mean, yeah,
Well,
they
she was
brought
also
back.
in Dream Warriors or some shit. They brought back Nancy.
Oh, did they?
she,
Okay.
like-
It's been forever.
Yeah,
since
it was
those
like-
movies.
It was like they brought her in and like these kids could like kind of almost lose a dream, and she was one of them that helped them out. Like she worked in that place, they had like a sleep study place or something, and they were like, okay, we can, because she like knows, okay, I know how to deal with Krueger, and they're like, well, we can kind of control ourselves in this dream, so we're like, all right, let's go get him again. I don't know.
I would say Friday the 13th is really the only series that didn't do a
Our returning final girl.
character.
Well, I mean, they've
apart
made
from-
plenty of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre films. There've been plenty of sequels to
But
that.
without Sally,
Yeah, it was just in this newer one that came out on Netflix that I still haven't gotten around to watching that they actually brought her character back, not the actress.
Well,
She
yes.
passed away, unfortunately, but her character back. So, yeah, I mean, that's...
Yeah.
So, to me, they kind of screwed themselves. Now you have to pay her, you have to start all over again, and I think your best option is to pay her. Darren Cant says he disagrees. This franchise isn't old enough for me to warrant a complete reboot. You want to know something funny about that? In the last, 20 years... How old is... Yeah, this franchise came out in 96.
I was at 90, mid-90s, so, I mean, you're getting there.
Okay, and they waited a long time between sequels, of course. But I mean, if you think about it, from when this movie came out to today, there have been 3 different iterations of Spider-Man.
I was like, if you don't say Spider-Man, because I'm like, that, it's like that felt like it was way too soon.
Yeah, Tobey Maguire in 2000. Then we had the Andrew Garfield stuff, whatever the year that
2012.
came out, and then now we've got Tom Holland. So we've had 3 different incarnations of Spider-Man. Well, now they're all they've been in the same movie, of course, but I mean 3 different iterations of Spider-Man over the course since this first film came out. So yeah, it's good for a reboot.
we've had 3 different Batmans too, right? In that time? Well, not in that time even. Just maybe more
Christian
than that.
Bale, Ben Affleck, and now
Robert Pattinson, yeah.
Or
Pattinson, yeah.
Well, I was gonna say if you want to go from mid '90s, I'm like you probably even still had like Val Kilmer in there too, right? That was like '97, maybe George Clooney.
I think
don't
so.
remember. So
who was Bat Nipples? That was the most recent one, I believe.
I think that was Kilmer.
I think Kilmer was the
I've worked
Yeah, Val
very
Kilmer
hard
was
to
Bat
block
Nipple.
that from my mind.
I have too. That's why I'm sitting here like my mind.
It's back.
My mind's like just not there. I'm like, yeah. So we've had how many different versions of Batman, even Superman. We had like not Christopher Reeve. Fuck. Sorry, what's his name? Brandon Routh. I couldn't think of his name. And then like Henry Cavill. Yeah, you know what I mean. So, but there's only ever been like 2 Wonder Women. So, I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I said I think they're screwed. You've got 2 choices at this point, and one of them is not going to be a good one. The other one is really the only one that you have that's going to help you out, and that's just to go ahead and pay her. But I mean, the question is though, I don't know what the offer was. I don't think I read that anywhere in the article. So I mean, look, because this movie, if you compare what it's going to make to its budget, it's probably going to make a profit, but it's not going to be a $500 million movie. It's not going to be it may not be like a $300 million movie. I don't know what. Somebody real quick look up, if you get a chance, either Cora or the chat or somebody, how much money the last movie made. Because I would imagine that it would be
5, you say?
I would imagine it probably made between 300 and 400 million.
140 million.
How much?
140 million.
40 million, really?
140.
Oh, 140. Well, that's not a lot.
Wait, that's Scream. I said Scream 5, and Google
I was
didn't
gonna say.
answer
Wait a minute.
correctly. Scream 5 crosses 100 million at box office.
If you go to like Box Office Mojo, you'll be able to look it up, and it'll have.
Yeah, look it up.
But I mean, it's not going to make a great amount of money. It's going to make a few $100 million. So, and that's nothing to sneeze at. And look, that's the deal: is you give her back endpoints. You could say we'll give you, $1 million just to show up and do your scenes, and then we'll give you, a percentage of whatever we make at the box office. That's where she can make her money, because that's where some of the bigger stars make their money anyway.
That was actually correct. 140 worldwide, 81 international, 58.
I'm actually surprised it was that low. As much buzz as that movie got, and as much as people seem to love it, but whatever.
Opening weekend, it was 30 million.
Yeah, but like I said, I mean, it's how little do they offer her that she'd want to come back? It's like she's not going to make like Robert Downey Jr. money in the Avengers, like 20 or 25 million.
Didn't she say how much it was?
That's what I'm saying. Is I don't know the number, so it's hard for me to figure out. I mean, maybe she's asking too much. Maybe
that's what I was wondering. I'm like, maybe does she think it's not enough? Or
I mean,
they could be offering her the same amount they have before, and now she's just like, I need more. Which, I mean, if you've been doing this many movies, this is what, 6 you said?
Yeah.
She may be kind of like, look, it's been 6 movies if you want me to, but I don't know. Because Frank also said she's not hurting for work right now. So,
yeah,
I don't know. Maybe they kind of just were like.
Yeah, it's not like Vin Diesel where all he's got is Fast and the Furious and you can't do anything else.
Yeah.
Hey, he's got family.
Yeah.
That's what
make another
Actually, no. Vin Diesel is now doing Ark, that dinosaur game.
Oh, okay.
He's now in that, and now they're doing a TV series for that too.
Well, that's the solution right there.
That'd be fun.
You got to do a Scream crossover with Fast and Furious. I want to see Ghostface Killer and Vin Diesel's Dom Toretto go at it when we're just one.
Oh no!
Why not? I mean,
it would be 5 seconds of Ghostface coming out in the middle of the street doing a weird pose, and then him just hitting him with a car and him.
What's he gonna do? Is he gonna call Vin Diesel, be like, "What's your favorite race car?" And then like, I don't know.
Hello, Vin Diesel.
Maybe he'll be the actor in the beginning of the movie that like gets killed or something. They always have the famous actor.
Could you imagine? Here's my spinoff would just be the phone call. Sydney picking up the phone, being like, "Hello, sup? What's your favorite movie?" I'm sorry, is this Vin Diesel? No.
You know what's really, really sad is we sit here and joke about it, but I guarantee if they made that movie, they would probably make $1 billion.
Oh boy!
For what though? I mean, like for the Scream,
why
or
does
the
Fast and Furious movies make any money at all anymore? They're spectacular.
People like
I
race
don't
cars.
know. I'm not contributing to it. Like
Americans
Seen
like
the last
flashing
17
lights.
of them myself, so
Maybe.
They've even got a new
I-
spin-off series going on.
oh, God.
They had a spin-off
What?
with Shobbs and Haw, or how do you
Hobbs and Shaw.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hobbs and Shaw, and I bought that
How
just on a
great
whim.
did that go?
I watched it. It was entertaining.
I actually
It was
loved
good.
it. I thought it was great.
I don't know. I stopped at Tokyo Drift, so whatever. Sue me. Sorry.
But I don't know. Like I said, I think they've got themselves painted in a corner. I think she's ended up getting exactly the pay that she thinks she's deserving of, because they really can't do this without her. Because she is the franchise. I mean, yeah, you could explain her away in writing, and you could just bring Courtney Cox back and be like, hey, we still have Courtney Cox. Don't worry about Neve Campbell not being here. We still have Courtney Cox. But it's not going to be the same thing. But whatever.
Well, and you also don't have Dewey, so
Yeah,
you're losing.
And no more.
I mean, I know you made like ghostly. Whatever. This is a spoiler show. I know you kind of had like ghostly, Skeet Ulrich, and then obviously Matthew Lillard can't come back because he died too. But whatever.
Well, you never saw his dead body. You just see him laying. He's still breathing last time you see him. I think you're assuming that he's dying.
You say like, man, I'm feeling kind of woozy.
You dick.
That's one of the things that people have talked about. It's like that he could come back. And I remember being in Night Watch's chat one night when they were talking about this, and I was like, wouldn't it be wild if, like, Sydney's mom, you find out has been alive this whole time, and she's one of the killers because of whatever reason they come up with in the writing room, and somebody's like, oh no, she's dead, blah blah blah, and I'm like literally 30 seconds ago, dude, you were talking about Stu coming back, and Stu's supposedly dead. So I mean, look, this isn't realism here, okay? It's a horror movie. Nobody really dies if you don't want them to. You're a piece of dialogue away from bringing anybody back to life. So,
well,
I mean, why not enjoy it?
You guys gave me crap for saying, like, Vincent D'Onofrio can't come back. He's dead. He got eaten by a dinosaur. I'm like, you don't know that. You just saw him get his hand bit. You didn't see a body. You didn't see shit. He could come back.
By the way,
weird, like, biogenetic arm or something weird. You know what I mean?
By the way, I meant to tell you, this is super random. I rewatched Jurassic Park. It was Arnold's right arm.
See, I know.
Just the way the camera was
posed. I mean, that's why I love doing this show. I've got a weird, like, photo memory where I'm like, I know exactly what that looked like, which arm fell down, and I can watch a movie like once and probably have the whole thing memorized. And I think about 80% of the things I say are some movie quote that's like really buried or random. Yeah. I don't know. No one gets it but me, but it makes me happy.
In here somewhere.
Yeah, it makes me happy. Yeah,
on myself. But anyway, let us know what you guys think in the comments below or in the chat if you're watching us live, and let us know what you think about Neve Campbell. Does she deserve a bigger payday than what they've offered her? I personally think so. And let us know if you think this movie is going to get made or not. Like I said, I could go either way. I'm okay with the reboot as long as they actually make it more of a horror movie and less of a teeny bopper horror nonsense crap. But whatever, I don't know.
But isn't that the joke?
Part of it, yeah. But it's like I don't want it to be the entire movie.
Yeah,
because it's like because the original Scream kind of towed that line a bit. They crossed it a couple of times and it annoyed me. But I was like, it wasn't so bad. Everything after that was just a big joke. Those movies were way more comedy than they were horror. I want like 85% horror and 15% comedy because you use the comedy to like set up for the scare. So it's like,
well, you know what, Frank? You might get what you want in the Winnie the Pooh horror movie.
Good.
Oh my God.
I can't wait for that trailer to come out. It's just gonna be fire. You guys think I'm playing?
Sarcasm,
I'll put money on that right now.
beyond.
I'm not. I'm right there with you. I'll wear a Winnie the Pooh shirt. I will wear a Winnie the Pooh shirt for that occasion.
You'll wear pants, though, right?
Pooh Bear.
You'll wear pants, though, right? Because Winnie the Pooh doesn't wear pants. It's like you can wear the red shirt and nothing else, because that'd be kind of scary.
See, we'll take Rachel with us, and the whole time we're just gonna be like, Jeremy, she can't talk.
I'm gonna order the shirt
She's gonna be like,
on Etsy, not my Pooh Bear.
Hashtag Amber the Poo. Oh, there's her new name. Amber the Poo.
Speaking of, if I may transition.
I thought we were.
We're not letting that go.
This next story has been talked about. His name has been mentioned a lot today and yesterday because Warner Brothers is just a side thing. Frank didn't put this in the itinerary. I just have to vent. Warner Brothers was touting and hinting that they were going to cut Amber out of Aquaman 2. Well, guess what? They're doubling down and supporting her, and they went supposedly from cutting her down to adding more of her time in the fucking movie. So fuck you, Warner Brothers.
It doesn't matter.
Anyways.
Her career's over.
What?
She's not. You know what? She's in this movie. There's nothing to do about it. She's not going to be anymore.
No, but
Did
You're
you
not
know
gonna
on
be able to do-
Change.org, almost
you're not gonna be able to do
7
shit
million
else.
people have signed a petition to get her out of it, but
Petitions
whatever.
don't do anything.
People signed a petition to have Bruce Campbell be her character, and I'm like, whatever.
Do you know how many? This is what I don't like about petitions. I'll do this real quick.
I don't know
want
much
to move on to the
about
next
it, to be
story.
fair.
But petitions never work. Do you want to know that every year now there is a rule? Like every year, if a petition gets a certain amount of signatures, if they send it to the White House, it has to get a response from the president, whoever the sitting president may be. Do you know that every year there is a petition that makes it to the White House that asking the government to start construction on Death Star?
No way.
No bullshit.
Come
Like
on.
every year, that thing gets enough signatures to at least get a response from the White House.
What is wrong with Star Wars fans?
Why
Like, get
are we
over
not
it.
funding this?
Oh, not you,
We have a
Alan.
Space Force, guys.
Yeah.
Damn, why can't we
Why
have
are
another
we
moon?
not
Just
funding this?
or
Excuse for
not a
Trump
moon.
to design women's uniforms to look like bikinis in the military, okay?
Hey, I mean,
It's hot in
worst things can
Afghanistan,
happen.
damn it.
If it works,
Have you ever played an RPG,
flexible.
Cora?
Yeah,
That's
I'm
the
kidding.
best level armor you can get. Come on.
I do know
The
I do know
bullets
that
just-
Lara Croft's boobs are really big because a guy
Yeah.
designed her character. That's all I know about that.
well,
You leave Laura Croft alone, okay?
yeah.
I'm not judging. Just
her
saying.
triangle boobies got me
Triangle
through
boob.
many a time.
Oh, yeah.
Well, maybe we need to get you a Lara Croft pop figure.
Maybe. Hey, I bet you he wouldn't turn it down. But
Jeremy looking back like,
I have
do
one.
I got
I was
that?
like, wait, I have one right there. I was like, wait, I have one.
I love
right
you
there.
guys.
Right next to, weirdly, right next to Iron Man with
Does
the
it fall over
Infinity
because
Gauntlet.
she's so top heavy? Do you have to like put a counterweight on the back of the box?
That's what her ass is for. No, that's
Oh,
no, that's the one from the video game, the reboot, where she actually, looks proportional and actually
Oh,
a
okay.
human being.
oh, good
No, if
God.
they made a
Gotcha.
triangle, if they made like the original like PS1 one, I
Oh, they would
never.
never get away with that. They've
Are
got
you-
some
hey.
raunchy pops, but I
Are
don't know
you
if
sure?
they
Because they have Elvira, like, you know what I mean.
Yeah,
So-
but Elvira
Her
did that
character,
on.
though.
I know.
I love how we're just talking
So-
about like. I wonder. It's like
This devolved into that, yeah.
And the
how
thing
did
is, the
Angelina
only woman on
Jolie
the
be
call
running
is
around
the
with the
one that
pyramids
brought
of
it up,
Giza
by
on
the
her
way.
chest?
I'm the only
Pretty
one that brought
has
it up,
those,
but I'm the woman.
Not
Right.
anymore.
The irony.
Well, let's move on to the next story now that we've gotten all that out of the way. now
asshole
that we've all had our
that was
squirrel
ra-
moment.
I guess that we got that off our chest.
Literally.
Ah,
So,
We're fine.
So,
I'm
the
fine.
asshole that was referenced in all these articles about Warner Brothers and Amber Heard is none other than Ezra fucking Miller. To no one's surprise, news broke yesterday that he has been misbehaving. After
Oh, no.
chokeslamming a
What?
fan, getting into a bar fight, and threatening the life of a couple in Hawaii, reports have surfaced that the Flash star was actively grooming a now 18-year-old fan from the age of 12 with the help of alcohol and the drug LSD. Frank, do you think it will be the end of Ezra Miller and we'll find out he was Kevin Spacey's, little friend or what?
I think his career was over already.
Damn.
I said this weeks ago when we were talking about that thing in Hawaii where he, threatened to kill a man, his wife, and he stole their wallet and their passports. I said back right then, I was like, his career's over. We talked about this emergency meeting they had at Warner, and I said very, very clearly, and I hold true to this now more than ever. And if they haven't done this already, I'm sure they did it this morning. They went into a meeting and they said, all in favor of cutting this guy loose and just cutting our ties with him. And they said, Eyes Cabot, okay, let's get out of here. Let's go have drinks at fucking Spago's or some shit. And that's exactly what happened. And it took all of 5 seconds for them to decide that they were done with him. The only question that remains is what they do with the movie. Now, I talked, when we were talking about this the last several weeks, that it's not just a pattern of behavior, it's a pattern of escalating behavior. It wasn't just that weird choke slamming incident in front of a bar in Denmark or wherever the hell he was at with that girl. That video still is just weird to me. It wasn't just the incident in Hawaii where he got drunk at a bar and threw a chair at somebody, and then later on that night, the whole thing with the couple at the hotel. Now it's gotten to the point where, I mean, he's got a serious problem, and whatever that problem is, it's not going to be conducive with him having a career. Because we've now gotten from him just being an alcoholic who lashes out to him actively, mentally, and physically manipulating a child. So when I talked about that pattern of escalating behavior, it was just like being dumb, drunk, and stupid, and threatening to murder someone, and now this. This is a logical step. This does not shock me at all. Now, what's interesting about this is, like, we just, I mean, for those of you who pay attention to the news at all in Hollywood, this was the Nexium thing, or what was it, that sex cult that was going on in Hollywood for a while? The blonde girl that was on Smallville was actually part of this, and they were basically doing the same thing. They were getting these young girls into their little cult of whatever, and this one guy or group of guys were having their way with them, and they had them all thinking that they were, I don't know, whatever, they were all going to be together in heaven or some shit. I don't remember exactly what it all was, but people went to prison for this shit. And this is exactly what was going on there. He's using LSD, marijuana, and alcohol to manipulate this girl to do whatever he wants her to do. Now, we don't know for sure that he did anything sexual. We don't know for sure that he abused her physically, except that we almost kind of do. Let's see. It says here that documents were filed in Standing Rock Sioux Tribal Court alleging that Miller had been physically and emotionally abusing as well as psychologically manipulating, physically intimidating, and endangering the safety and welfare of these people's daughters, Takata Iron Eyes. This is her parents have actually filed court papers to get her to get her to actually back away from him. But there's a whole lot more about this. The parents also alleged that Miller and Dakota met. They alleged that they met during the 2016 Standing Rock Reservation protest in North Dakota when she was 12 and Miller was at the time 23. These are the protests for the Dakota Pipeline stuff that was going on several years ago, for those of you who watch the news. They said in these papers that Ezra Miller took an immediate and apparent innocent liking to Dakota Iron Eyes and began to formulate relations with Dakota. Ezra flew Dakota Iron Eyes and other Standing Rock tribal members to London in the UK to tour the Harry Potter Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them studio, in which he played a significant role, in December of 2017, where Miller attempted to sleep in the same bed as Dakota Iron Eyes, who was 14 years old at the time, meaning he was 25-ish. The document alleged, adding that Miller was ultimately prevented from sleeping in the same bed with Takata. I'm sorry, I think I was mispronouncing her name. With Takata at that time by a chaperone. The parents went on to claim that Miller gave Takata alcohol and drugs, including marijuana and LSD, and exhibited a pattern of corrupting a minor by paying for Takata to attend college and then using that against her to create a sense of indebtedness. And when Takata dropped out of school in December, the parents say they traveled to Miller's home in January to find that Takata didn't have her driver's license, bank card, keys, or any other items needed for them or for her to navigate life on her own. Apparently, she's doing the whole pronoun word salad thing too. So it says there, but I'm sorry. So
this person was basically staying with him with no independent access to leaving.
Yes. Takata then spent 3 weeks detoxifying at home before running away to New York City to reunite with Miller. According to the parents, who say Takata then traveled to Los Angeles and Hawaii, where Miller was recently arrested in an unrelated matter, which means she was probably there when he was going through all the shit that we had talked about the last couple months. In the complaint, Takata's parents claim that Miller is displaying a cult-like and psychologically manipulative, controlling behavior towards their daughter, as well as classic abusive, intimate partner violence behavior and sexual predatory behavior. Duh! It's like, I mean, isn't this kind of...
Does he admit he's in a romantic relationship with her, or that they're just friends and he's giving her a place to stay?
He's not talking because any word that he says can be held against him, which is, it's smart if you think about it, if you're him.
True.
Because you don't want to put yourself on record as saying any of this shit like this. So, right. But it says right here the parents are asking the court to intervene and issue an order of protection against Miller. There is a hearing set for next month. So, I mean... Look, it's pretty clear. This raises a lot of questions. Number one, for me, is how did he get to this point and nobody fucking noticed? Especially with this girl. He's been on the set of at least one major film. At least one major film. And I'm willing to... How many movies has he done since then? He's done another Fantastic Beasts movie, which just got released recently, a month or two ago. He's done probably Justice League. Probably the Flash movie, she was on the set for that. If she's been hanging out with him, there's got to be people that have seen them.
His assistant.
Yeah, you can call someone your assistant, but if you're walking around holding hands or being intimate or being lovey-dovey, that's got to stand out. There's got to be somebody, because there are thousands of people it takes to put together a movie like The Flash or Fantastic Beasts.
A lot of people don't care. I mean, Hollywood's proved that. I mean, if he says, this is my assistant, or my intern.
I think a lot of people notice, but a lot of people don't say anything because they don't want to lose their job in the industry. I mean, if I was just like a janitor on a movie set for something like, an Avengers movie or something, I would just like to be there. It's like, I mean, that's a pretty sweet gig to have. I mean, for one, you're getting paid pretty good, and for two, you're on the set of a major movie. It's like a lot of people don't want to throw that stuff away, don't want to throw that opportunity away. Remember, a lot of people that are big names in Hollywood now, they got their start like being production assistants and, special effects, no-name guys, script supervisors, just sit there with the script in their hand. A lot of the people that are directing biggest movies in Hollywood right now got their start doing small stuff. So some of these people that are doing the small stuff on things like The Flash or the Fantastic Beasts movies, they don't want to fuck up, they don't want to attach the narc title to their name because they want to move up in Hollywood. So this is the position that they're put in. It's like, I see this behavior between Ezra Miller and this young girl, and I don't like it, and I want to call it out. But if I do, I'm going to lose a shot to even direct an independent film. I'm going to be a pariah in this industry that I want to be a part of. So I understand why people would be apprehensive, but at the same time, and it's like so many people had to have seen this. He was on the set of Fantastic Beasts with this 14-year-old girl. And granted, there were other people.
Her parents didn't come forward till now. Why didn't they have concerns in the last number of years?
I think that's a valid question. And I would ask
Michael
that too.
Jackson's victims were groomed, so I'm going to give them a little credit because the victims of Michael Jackson were saying he was buying us houses, he was grooming us as well. So maybe Ezra was grooming her parents as well.
Maybe
make them trust him. I don't know.
And that's a valid point because on a lot of the Native American reservations here around the country, especially in the Southwest, it's like some of those are really poor places that have a lot of problems with drugs and alcohol abuse. The only money they really have coming in is the massive amount of cash flow that comes in from the casinos. So maybe they're just kind of thinking to themselves, this is a way for my daughter to get out, to maybe hook up with this guy, just to kind of be part of his entourage or whatever. And they think they can kind of control the situation.
He's paying for college. He probably was under the guise, I'll take you under my arm. You'll be like a ward, I'll show you, this, and probably pretended to be like a big brother type or something. He had to get their trust.
Yeah, but one of the things that's making this very, very hard, though, is that this young girl, Dakota, what's her whole name again? I'm trying to find her name here. I lost it.
She's over 18 now, so they can't stop her from being with him.
Dakota Iron Eyes is her name, and
she's denying everything.
Yeah, that's part of the problem is that she's denying everything. Neither Miller or Dakota responded to any requests for comments, but she did post a statement on Instagram with the caption, "Context." It's so dumb. It's like context addressing. Hold on, I got the thing here. Addressing assumptions made on my behalf by my family and my friends regarding my stability and otherwise. I dropped out of Bard 5 months ago. My friend and comrade William. I think it's funny that she refers to her friends as comrades. That's really odd to me. My friend and comrade William passed shortly thereafter. My mind was incredibly impacted, and I needed space and time for the processing of grief. She went on to say, my comrade Ezra Miller, for the entirety of the aforementioned era, has only provided loving support and invaluable protections throughout this period of loss. I am in no way or under any circumstances have ever been, during my short-lived adulthood, in need of a conservatorship. My father and his allegations hold no weight and are frankly transphobic, I don't understand why they're transphobic, and based on the notion that I am somehow incapable of coherent thought, or opposing opinions to those of my own kindred worried about my well-being. I am now aware of the severity of emotional and psychological manipulation I was made to endure while in my parents' home. The statement continued saying that I am an adult and I deserve to feel authority in my own body, which, I get that. Adding that they are excited to speak with a therapist about their anxiety and probable depression. It is no one's business. It was no one's business. My choices are my own. Well,
she should go into politics because that's quite the spin. You're being called out for your sexual or intimate relationship that you had as a minor with an adult who groomed you, and you're talking about trans and LGBTQ rights and recognition.
Yeah, I was watching John Campia talk about this earlier, and he said something that was very interesting to me. He said that's not a statement that's written by an 18-year-old girl. That sounds like a statement that's very carefully parsed by either a PR person or a lawyer. I value that opinion by him because he's got a law degree. So if anybody's going to sniff that shit out real quick, or not a law degree, but he'd spent time in law, but he's a lot more schooled in that kind of shit than I am. So it's like it kind of makes sense.
Amber Heard should have had this lawyer.
Amber Heard should have had any lawyer. If Amber Heard would have shit in her lawyer's chair instead of on Johnny Depp's bed, that lawyer probably would have been better. But
Amber down.
but yeah, after Ezra Miller's previous behavior, I can't help but believe every fucking word of this. Because because like I said, it's a pattern of escalating behavior. We saw him act up in the front of the bar when he chokeslammed that girl, and then the stuff in Hawaii, and now this. It's a logical progression in my mind. So I'm
going to tell you a weird story. Came out of Oregon. So there was this teacher, I forget what her name is. She was in her late 20s, and she started a romantic relationship with a 12 or 13-year-old boy. She got pregnant. She went to jail. They stayed together. And when she got out of prison and he was in his 20s, they got married and they're still fucking together. When these people are groomed at such a young age, sometimes you just got to throw your hands up. And as an adult, if they choose to stay with him, you can't fucking do anything.
But does that make that okay?
But,
no, it's not okay.
Here's the problem, though, is if whatever went on before she was 18... he can still get busted for statutory law.
That's what I mean. I'm like, just because she's 18 now.
She went to prison for it. And, yeah, he's going to be in trouble. But the thing is, they have to have proof. They have to have some witness that he crossed a line and it wasn't just friendship or mentorship. And if nobody
whoever that chaperone was.
That's why I say if she's been hanging out with him for a long time, really for the last 6 years, if she just turned 18 and their relationship started when she was 12, that means there's 6 years of him probably carrying her to every movie set that he was on, which is, like I said, Flash, Justice League.
Long time.
Both the Fantastic all 2 or 3 of the Fantastic Beasts movies, whatever. I mean, all the other smaller productions that he's probably been on. It's like, so there's got to be somebody who saw something. I would imagine that once they actually go through like discovery on this and they start to investigate some of these allegations, they talk to people, they're probably going to have some witnesses saying, maybe I saw, him squeeze her ass when she was 16, or maybe I saw them holding hands or making out behind a trailer on the set, 4 or 5 years ago when she was still only 13 or whatever. I mean, maybe they find that. I'm not saying they will. I mean, maybe this is all just bullshit, and maybe it really was that innocent.
You're probably right. It's something, but until she comes forward as a victim and points the finger at him for being out of line, or he admits it, I don't think any criminal charges will hold any weight in court.
There is a good chance
why did
that
it
Ezra
get to this point? Like, why are we?
There
still
is a good point, or a good chance that Ezra may have threatened anybody. To be honest, I mean, we know that the man is completely.
And NDAs. You have to. He had to have. I mean, people who worked for him potentially probably knew. But if they are threatened by an NDA and think they'll get sued for saying something, even though they can in this situation, probably won't.
It's just, maybe there's times I'd be like, hey, dude, don't do that to her. And he'd turn around and be like, if you want to keep your fucking job and your life, you didn't see a thing. It would not surprise me.
Do you think the studio will do anything unless they're criminal charges? Because I don't think they're going to do shit.
Well, that's the next question is because
as we've proven, it doesn't really. You don't need. You just need a baseless accusation to get kicked out of every movie you want to be in. From
look at Johnny Depp. He's going to make it. He's going to make it so that people have to prove it before they get kicked off stuff.
Nothing happened.
Yeah, that's the thing though. No. This isn't baseless.
Even if it is, that's what I'm saying. Is nothing fucking happened. So why are we still here doing this? And that's like I said. What does he have to do to apparently get kicked out? Does he have to go on a mass murder spree? Like, and then WB's like, well, sometimes
I already have it filmed.
You just have a bad day. You know what I mean? I'm like, why aren't you doing anything about it at all? What is?
Yet Johnny sneezes funny, and Disney fires him on the spot.
Well, they were moving off him anyway. That's just silly.
It's a squirrel moment. I'm warning you. Do you think it's true, Frank? You're trying to broker and think Disney. deal of $300+ million to get him back in the next Pirates movie and give him Disney Plus series like everybody's talking about?
No. I
He's not
think
gonna go
I think they might be thinking about it now, maybe. But when all this stuff with him and Amber Heard started, look, I've said this a million times. They were going to move off him a long time before this stuff with Amber Heard came up. They were going to move off him a long time ago. The Pirates of the Caribbean movies were not making great money. The last one made okay money, but there was a big time diminishing box office returns for those movies. They needed to do something else, so that's why they were going to move off him. Then this stuff happened, and then all of a sudden, all the people that were like big Johnny Depp fans were like, "Oh, you're just moving off him because of all this stuff. You fired him because of all this stuff." No, they were moving on because those movies weren't being profitable. And this is Disney; they want money. They're a corporation that wants to make money off their movies. There's nothing wrong with that. Profit's not a dirty word, a wise man once said. So they want to make sure they maximize their profits. But I mean, they could. I personally wouldn't. I wouldn't do it, but that's just me. But as far as
Jeremy or Disney, or not, I mean, is Johnny or Disney shouldn't?
Oh, Disney shouldn't. They were going to move off him for a reason because he wasn't the draw for that franchise anymore. So
yeah, it's not like he's not the lead character or anything.
He was the lead character of all the movies, and all the movies box office here, next one here, next one there, next one lower, next one lower. It's like I said, diminishing returns. They want to make money, and I talked about it last week. Johnny Depp is not the box office draw that a lot of people thinks he is. He doesn't. Is he a great actor? Absolutely. Has he been great in a lot of great movies? Absolutely. There are a couple of movies I think he should have gotten Oscars for, and he didn't even get nominated for. He is very, very good. But
by the way, happy birthday, Johnny Depp! I forgot that.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it matters to him though. I think it's just he likes doing what he does.
It doesn't matter to him. It matters to the production companies that want to make money.
He got 10 million TikTok followers in like 2 days or something like that. He's on the rise.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I mean, do you really think there aren't? What was it like? Probably 90% of the fucking internet was all behind him on this thing. So I don't know.
Well, I don't want to go down a Johnny Depp thing, but
I'm saying he's not like he's not loved by many people, many fans.
Well,
so.
that
do you think Ezra Miller
that is not translated into box office though.
Well, it is because people love him. They want to go see his movies, like regardless.
Then why have only 4 of his movies ever done more than $1 billion, and 3 of those were Pirates of the
Caribbean? Because that bitch tried to take everything.
It's like, I mean,
Ezra Miller
have said this man's name. What am I doing?
Isn't famous
I know,
like
right?
Johnny Depp, though. Ezra Miller doesn't have a following like Johnny Depp. So why would the studios be motivated to keep working with him?
Well, that's the thing.
Is in the flag?
That's what I'm saying.
Well, that's the thing. Is for one, all of Warner. Look, the DC stuff that we've gotten from here on out, it's all changing. Look, Ben Affleck not coming back. We still have no idea if what's his name, fucking from The Witcher. God damn, I don't know his name. Superman.
Henry Cavill.
Henry Cavill. We have no idea if Henry Cavill's coming back to play Superman ever again. Odds are he's not. We don't know if we're ever going to be getting another Wonder Woman film. After Aquaman drops, we have no idea what the plan... After Aquaman 2 drops, I'm sorry. We have no idea what the plans are for that. And one of the things that has got Warner in a very shitty situation is that this movie is supposed to be the one thing that kind of resets the entire DCEU. But now you don't know if you can even release this movie. Because... Well, I mean, let's say that because we've still got another year or so before this movie comes out. Let's say that they have this hearing next month about this girl, and there is significant evidence found to where they say, okay, we're giving her parents conservatorship over this girl because we have evidence or we believe that Ezra Miller has been doing all these things that are being talked about in this court papers. Can you really market that movie? I mean, this guy is essentially a rapist. Not even essentially.
How much of a loss would it be financially if they just scrapped it and didn't ever release it?
That's one of the big questions, I think. Because you've only really got 2 choices. Well, you've got 3. You can not release the film at all, which I don't think can happen. You can release it and not do any marketing, just kind of like hope for the best. Or you just drop it on HBO Max. What I would do personally, I wouldn't bother putting this out in theaters. Look, you can't have your star of this movie going around and doing any marketing or press or anything for this movie. You don't want him in front of a camera. You can have Michael Keaton go do some, sure. You can have whoever else in the movie go do some, but you can't have your big star, your star of the movie, do it. No, he's not going to get asked questions about the film. He's going to ask questions about everything else.
You think he would sue them?
Can who
they
sue
didn't
them?
Release it?
Can he? Oh no! I would imagine that some of the stuff that he's done is a clear violation of any ethics clauses that he has in his contract.
Oh, I didn't think about that.
Because ethics clauses in contracts are a big deal now. They have been for several years now, especially with the advent of with the Me Too era popping off and becoming a thing. Mm-hmm. So I would imagine there's probably something in his contract, some ethical clause, and he can't fuck with them in court. But what I would do if I were them, I wait about. This movie's supposed to come out next spring. I wait till sometime around the fall, and then without telling anybody, I put it on HBO Max.
Would HBO want it with the?
Well, they have. Well, yeah. I mean, you can't do anything else with it, and they've got licensing deals with HBO for all this stuff. So HBO's going to take it.
Don't think HBO would get boycotted?
No. Nobody cares about boycotts. People like to tell you the boycotts work. They very rarely ever do. But the thing is you're not going to lose anybody on HBO Max. And to be absolutely honest, a lot of people are going to go watch this movie. Because remember, it's not just Ezra Miller in this movie. We're getting Michael Keaton back under the cowl, for Christ's sake. That alone is going to get me a ticket to the movie theater. I give zero shits about Ezra Miller at this point. I want to see what they do with Michael Keaton, because not only is he in this movie playing Bruce Wayne again, the older version, we're also going to be getting set up for him to be in the Batgirl movie, which is now being released theatrically and not on HBO Max. So that to me, having Michael Keaton back under the cowl is a much bigger draw than anything they were doing with Ezra Miller's character.
That's what I was more excited about.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Not because I'm a Batman fan or anything. But
now, do you think Ezra Miller and Amber Heard stuff will change the way movie contracts are written up? So that going into production and then post-production before it's released, if another situation like
maybe it's more like quit being a shitty human being. Not necessarily as anything about the movies. You can't do anything to me if I do this contract with this movie. You can't do anything to me regardless of what I do outside of here. I'm like, no, just don't be a shitty person.
I don't think it'll change the way contracts are written. I think people are paying attention to the way that Warner Brothers handled this, and they're understanding that Warner Brothers is getting their ass kicked publicly. Because look at what happened with Kevin Spacey. When all those allegations against him came out, he had shot a movie, and they went back and completely cut out his shit and reshot his stuff with another actor.
Didn't his TV show House of Cards get canceled or changed early?
It got
where they killed the character.
It was drastically changed. They had only filmed.
They killed him off.
He was. Well, for those of you who've watched the House of Cards BBC series, his character was going to die anyway, I'm pretty sure. But what ended up happening is they had just started filming. I think they were only like a week into filming what was going to be the final season anyway, when all this stuff popped off, and then they went on filming a hiatus while they figured out what they were going to do, and they eventually just decided to reshoot a little bit of stuff they had, and he was just going to die off camera between seasons, which I thought was dumb.
Gotcha.
But yeah, because as much as I like House of Cards, and I still like that final season, it wasn't the same. It wasn't the same show. But you can totally put Will Ferrell in there instead of Steve Carell. It's gonna be great.
Totally,
that'll work just fine. No. But yeah, I think people are going to pay attention to the way Warner's handled this, and they're going to say, "This is all the wrong thing to do." So that when somebody else, let's say, for example, that Robert Downey Jr. relapses or something like that. Not that he's technically in the MCU anymore. You would see Disney and Marvel act way more decisively and way more clearly, because they don't want to take that wait and see approach, because that's kind of what Warner's done, and everybody's shitting on Warner for it.
Yeah.
So it's the reaction that is kind of setting the example here, and not necessarily contractual stuff. But I mean,
you think Ezra is hireable after this project?
Oh no, his career's over.
Okay.
Oh no, he's done. Amber Heard is going to get a role before this guy will. I'm 100% certain.
Doubtful.
Like I said, Amber Heard, I think she can go get stuff in like B-rate, low budget, straight to the discount bin of Walmart videos.
She'd make that $10 million real quick with OnlyFans.
Probably could, but Ezra Miller, especially if this stuff ends up being true, his career's done. I don't care what his pronouns are. His career's done. His pronouns are going to be broke, or brokest. Because honestly, even at this point, let's say all this stuff isn't true, it's all fake. You still have the other two incidences where people have said, we don't really want to work with somebody who's got your problems. So do you really think even a small movie is going to be like, I don't really want to fuck with you. I
Think
just
it'd
don't.
be
I don't want to
different
deal
if
with
he
you.
hadn't gone to Hawaii and made an ass of himself?
Uh,
Or the girls' accusations are that big?
I want to say yes, but these are big accusations. Like I said, especially after Hollywood went through that Nexium thing with that whole sex
Yeah.
cult that was going on. I
Yeah.
really feel like even if all that stuff had never happened before, this is enough. Like the allegations are going to make people like want to get away from him for a while, and if they end up being true, his career's over. He's done. You'll never see that
You
guy
could
on TV
record
or movie again.
audiobooks.
I wouldn't pay this guy to mow my lawn. That's like,
I was joking.
for one, I'm Mexican. I do my own yard work. It's in my blood. For two, why would anybody want this guy around? He's a pro. Like I said, if you want someone to put up with your arrogance and your bullshit in Hollywood, you better be a big box office draw. And this guy ain't it. He hasn't been around long enough to secure anything. The only thing he had going for him so far in his young career was The Flash. And A, DC bollocks this whole fucking DC universe up anyway. And C, he's got all the stuff off camera going on that's making him look like an ass. He's not a big enough draw. But
No.
that's just me. Go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys think of Ezra Miller and his ongoing legal problems. Now he has apparently been grooming some young girl to be his companion. I don't want to say sex slave because it's still very preliminary. I don't want to throw that at him just yet.
No.
But to be his companion. And I do want to give him the benefit of the doubt because it's only fair. I mean, innocent until proven guilty. But
Right?
I don't know, man. Sometimes, I hate to say it, but most of the times where there's smoke, there's fire. Not all the times, but sometimes.
Yeah.
And like I said, this is a pattern of escalating behavior. So knowing what we know about Ezra Miller up to this point, it's perfectly logical to think that this is all true. But anyway, go down in the comments below and let us know what you guys think. Now, before we get too much further into our next topic, I do want to remind you guys we do have a Patreon. And for just $5 a month, if you support us for just $5 a month, you get a chance to win $25 in free movie tickets every month that we give away. We'll be doing that here again in a couple weeks. Now, what we want to do is we want to promote you guys to go out and go enjoy the movie theater experience yet again. We're getting closer and closer to the end of the pandemic, to officially being done with it. Movie theaters are now full schedules with releases. Movies are being made again. I really, really want to try to get people to go out and support the theaters that really got ravaged. Their employees really got ravaged by the lack of work they got for about 1.5 or 2 years after the pandemic. So I really want to help support them. And one of the ways we do that is by giving away $25 in free movie tickets every month. And you can win those by supporting us for just $5 a month on Patreon. Also, don't forget that we have a Discord channel. Link to that is in the description below as well. You guys can go on there all the time, find links to old shows. Just give us your thoughts on whatever movies. Suggest topics for us if you guys want to. We very much appreciate any interaction you guys give with us today. And Lady Cora, what is our next thing we're talking about tonight?
Well, speaking of EC, I believe I have that correct. Sometimes I get this stuff wrong.
You do.
There have been rumors that it was coming for a while, but now it's almost official. Director Todd Phillips posted on Instagram a picture of Oscar-winning Joaquin Phoenix reading a script for Joker, Folly a Deuce, a sequel for the surprise billion-dollar hit. Was doubtful due to Phoenix's reluctance to sign on for a multi-picture deal, but even he has been interested in the idea of continuing the story of Arthur Fleck. Jeremy, what do you think of a Joker sequel? I'm right, that is DC, correct? Because
Yes,
it's
you're
Batman.
correct. Yes, you're very
Hey, I
correct.
got it.
Well, I mean, the first one kind of. Let's see. I guess you could call it kind of more of an artsy film. It was, definitely a deep dive into some psychological, mental health things. And, through the outlet of this character of the Joker. Since, I know it's, it's the storyline of The One Bad Day, where it's like the guy I think he was a musician actually, or a comedian or something, instead of like a clown performer. He was like really down on his luck, and it was just he's just being shit on by the world, just constantly, one thing after another, until he finally snaps. Which, if that sounds familiar, yes, that's the plot of the movie. So I thought it was cool that we did that in the first place. And honestly, I thought it ended all right. I was like, okay, I'm assuming he's in Arkham Asylum now, and he definitely killed that therapist or whoever that was. She didn't get the joke, I guess. I don't know, but I don't really know where we're gonna go from here. Also, I mean, I like the tie-in that it's like this guy was it was still the reason that Bruce Wayne lost his parents. So I don't know. I thought it was a little weird. I was like, I don't know. It kind of feels very ironically, Christian Bale, when I mentioned it, feels kind of like American Psycho, where I'm like, did this really happen? Or is he like tripping out? Or is he like imagining this? Is it all in his head? I kind of like the unreliable narrator thing, because all we're really getting is what we're getting from him. Because I mean, I love that. It was kind of chilling. It's like when he's in that girl's apartment, she comes in, she's like, "Who are you? Like, what are you doing in here?" And I'm like, "Oh my god!" I got it like right for a flash, and it was like, "Oh, he didn't actually know her. That was all in his mind." Like, oh my god, holy crap! And then it's like you have to take it with a grain of salt. Where you're like, I don't really know or maybe the whole time could he have been in the asylum? Me just relaying that story. I don't know. So I don't really know what more we're gonna do with that. And what's the saying with Bruce Wayne being like an actual child right now? Oh, you're not gonna tell me this guy's gonna go toe to toe to him when he's like in his 80s and Batman's in like his 20s or some shit. Like, he's gonna break his neck. If you could maybe do the joke where he's like, "You wouldn't hit a guy with glasses, would you?" He's trying to wobble on a cane with glasses on or whatever. I don't know. Unless he was supposed to be an inspiration, which that's what it seemed like. He kind of seemed like he started this whole thing, and he was kind of like the driving force behind it. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There could be other Jokers. I don't know.
Well, if there's a multiverse, there's a lot of them.
My God. Yes.
Had to,
you just gotta take it with. Yeah, this is a different version. Because there are different Batmans. I mean, there are many Batmans in that universe. Like there's a reason why this whole shelf behind me somewhere. I've got a couple different versions of them up there.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Brooding Gamer, what do you think? The idea of a Joker 2.
I'm with Jeremy on this one. Like, where do you go from there? Like, is it just, like first 15 minutes of the movie is just going to be what he's having in the cafeteria at the prison? And the second half is him, trying to figure out with, Mexican got boots on. What's that all about? It's just like, like, I don't, I'm with him on this. Joker is one of my favorite villains when it comes to DC. I definitely weigh in more on the Marvel side. I mean, Joker was always that one that kind of stood out to me because, I mean, he stands out to everybody. So it's like we don't get, him running around blowing things up anymore. We don't get, the Joker. So, I mean, really, what are we gonna? I don't know. I don't see a point in a sequel for this unless he's breaking out of Arkham again.
It's the setup for the Arkham Asylum game. It totally is.
There we go.
That'd be cool.
So it's just like at this point, I don't know. I really don't know. Like it'd probably just piss you off to think the movie's about him breaking out of Arkham. And then at the very end of the movie, you just find out he was having a really good wet dream. Like, it never actually happened. It's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know M. Night Shyamalan was doing DC films now these days. So.
I mean, yeah, I wouldn't let that man near my Batman movies.
Not my Batman 2022.
I would hate to see the plot twist on that one.
Cora, did you ever see the Joker?
I was going to, but somebody warned me that it can be triggering if you have depression, anxiety, and so that was one person's opinion.
I could see it being that way.
It was potentially dark, and I had a hard time watching the Batman Begins trilogy, especially the last one. It just was so dark. Society was, depressive, and
DC.
I don't know. It affected me. So
It's a heavy movie.
It's a very, very heavy
I'll wait
movie.
till I'm having a fantastic day.
Well, he's not having a good day, so.
Yeah.
I've noticed
The happiest he was walking down them damn stairs, just doing his little jam. That was it. You know?
I've noticed a lot. DC has, in my opinion, the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. That'll be a trilogy, I believe. That one kind of pushing it for a little bit for me. But they've really started focusing heavily more on the realism of things. I always call it the Arkham universe, or the Gotham universe, or whatever, because that's really the only one I care about. Don't really care for Superman. Don't really care for any others. Like Batman always got the better villains. He's always got, a guy. Superman's got a guy who's high on his own name, but get it. Everybody knows you're Zod, dude. Grow the fuck up. But with
gonna snap your damn neck.
I've noticed they just it started in my opinion with the Dark Knight series. There's no more supervillains. Bane is now just a really roided out guy. There's no Killer Croc, but there sure as hell's a reference to him. And I don't even refer to the Suicide Squad, because I do not care for that. That one was bad. Even the remake or whatever, the only good part of it was the damn shark, and that I only went for King Shark. But I don't know why they're like, yeah, we really just want to kind of focus on everything's being real. There is no such thing as giant monsters. There is no such thing as the Lazarus pit. There's none of that. So it's like I kind of wish they would start, and that's why I'm saying with the new Batman series trilogy coming out, it's like kind of, we don't really know yet, but I could definitely see them kind of squeezing some of the, I don't want to say supernatural aspects, but I guess you could say the DC supernatural aspects of bringing back certain villains that normally wouldn't exist. I would love to see Man-Bat actually appear in some sort of
that.
I'm here for. He already scared the piss out of me.
I was like, if you've played the Arkham games, that was so uncalled for. If
I'm pretty sure I was with you when that happened, and I come out of my chair, and I'm like, I'm going home. You are home. Well, I'm going in there. So I wish. Cool. I don't know why it is, because you have a lot of people out there that only want to go see. People love Batman because of that. People love giant crocodiles. People love clowns that are using a giant robot of his own face. Destroy half of a city block. It's just like people want to go see that kind of stuff. And when you're just watching anybody dress up in dark black leather kicking ass, that's not Angelina Jolie. It's kind of just like, I can go watch this somewhere else. I'm here. That's why I always love Marvel so much, because Marvel never really does go, oh, that kind of stuff doesn't exist in this universe. No, everything's always kind of like, you want a wizard? We'll give you a wizard. You want a zombie wizard? We'll give you a zombie wizard. You want whatever that thing is? We'll give it to you. You want a green fucking Grinch Minotaur? We'll give you that too. Like, I don't know what's going on with DC and why they're wanting to just focus so heavily on these.
It is dark. It is. I mean, maybe it makes it inherently a little more scary because you could believe that would happen.
Very good point.
That's why that is that. It is a slow burn. It's a heavy movie. It boils up to that point, where he already kind of snapped, but when he snaps and he shoots, taxi driver in the face, that doesn't really, what I'm talking about. He didn't shoot a taxi driver in the face. He shot De Niro.
Yeah.
It's just like
that makes sense. But I'm like, you kind of think, oh my god, this could happen to like anybody. And this is. I mean,
it kind of is now in this day and age. You see stories all over the news about somebody fucking snapping.
But that's what I'm saying is all these villains kind of have they kind of had that real aspect to them where you're like, oh yeah, this probably could happen, and it makes it kind of terrifying to think about. I just don't like going to a movie where at the end of it I'm like, did any of that actually happen, or was this guy just dreaming? Shyamalan.
Did he actually? Yeah. Well, what the hell's going on? Does it turn out that this is really just a prequel to Nope, and then all of a sudden we're going to get all these different movie tie-ins that have no.
Well,
none of this make sense.
I didn't mind that. I mean, I don't mind American Psycho either, because it's a fun ride, and honestly, it's like, damn it, did it really? You start to question it. Obviously, the one movie that doesn't do that right is High Tension, but I don't want to sit here and talk about that movie because it infuriates the hell out of me. That one literally could not have happened. You can't be like, oh yeah, it was them the whole time, and you're like, no, it couldn't have been.
What a twist!
And yeah, the movie just throws you a middle finger, like, nope, it is. I'm like, no, it's insulting to you. It's just, don't watch that movie. Fun ride, but just you've been warned. The shock lasts for about 3 seconds, and you're like, what?
Okay.
When it comes to this movie, I'm interested, but I'm worried because this subtitle for the movie, it's Fale à Dieu. It's a French reference meaning a medical term pertaining to a mental disorder which affects 2 or more people. So I'm wondering.
So now he has
one is him. One is, I don't know if it necessarily means multiple personalities. Because it says one or more people, not the same person. So that means that there has to be a second lead in this film. Now, a lot of people running to another version of Harley Quinn, which I don't think they're going to do.
No. I kept hearing the Harley Quinn angle, and I'm like, nah.
I don't think they're going to do another Harley Quinn.
Darlene.
Well, I mean, who else could... I mean, it could be other people. Now, the other person, I heard somebody hypothesizing on John Campy's show earlier, that it could be Bruce Wayne.
Oh.
That could be. That's a good point.
Because we see at the end of the Joker film, the Waynes walking into the alley. We all know what happens in the alley. So maybe this was kind of
again. What happens?
Yeah, we know what happens. We know what happens. But Martha. But
why'd you say that name?
So maybe it's not just the Arthur Fleck character who's gone a little bit batty. Pun. Who's not gone a little bit batty. But maybe we're seeing a little bit of this mental anguish that Bruce Wayne is feeling. That's a possibility. It could be a Harley Quinn character, variant to use the Marvel term. It could be another this universe's version of Harley Quinn. But I mean, really, I don't know who else you could bring in to this series to where they could also be affected by a mental disorder that would make sense. Unless they write in a whole new character, in which case it's all going to come down to writing. So I can't think of anybody in the comic books that would make too much sense. Because if you think about it, the Joker only has a personal relationship with 2 people, Harley Quinn and Batman. I mean, it's a weird relationship with Batman. It's a weird. Well, both those relationships are kind of weird, but those are the only 2 real relationships that he has. So who else could you bring in? I think his mother dies in the Joker film, right?
But did she? I don't know. That whole fucking... Was she even his mom? You know what I mean? That's what that movie was doing to you.
But I just keep popping in with a pic. I need to get a little white cutout of M. Night Shyamalan and just be like, what a twist. Wait
a minute. I just had I haven't seen that movie in a while, but I just had a brainwave. If anyone can help me here. Like you said, we saw Bruce Wayne and his parents go down the alleyway. Did we see anything that happened after that?
With the Waynes, no, but we all know the story.
Wait. I got no story. What a twist. Hold on. Since you say that, because this is that story, I'm like, wouldn't that be wild if we went with that one story where Bruce Wayne died and his parents became the Joker and Batman?
Ooh.
You know what I mean?
Ooh.
You know what I mean? I was like, wait a minute. We didn't actually see what happened.
Ooh.
It sounds like a soap opera. A Mexican soap opera.
I know. Yeah,
no,
the evil twin. Oh no.
It's a telenovela.
Yes, that's a telenovela.
That was a really good comic, though. I really enjoyed that because that was a dark,
wild, right?
Like the Joker and Batman, like because they've always had that really awkward. I always go back to that stupid Lego Batman movie. I'd like to say that I fight around.
I'm your favorite villain. No, it's Bane. No, it's me. What?
I don't do ships. That God damn it. I like that though. We're having like Martha become the Joker. And
Thomas Wayne.
Thomas, thank you. I kept wanting to say Bruce, but with Thomas becoming Batman. This really dark, just absolutely fucked up Batman.
Yeah, because I'm like, I love that shot of like it's like them in the alleyway again. You see the little outline of the kid. It was because he died instead. I'm like, oh my god, wait a minute.
What I really want is for someone to just finally fucking make a the Batman Who Laughs movie.
Oh boy.
Even if it's one of those like animated goes to HBO.
Dude, I have that as a pot back here. It's
so
cool.
I know. What's that game? Injustice finally. Well, not finally. It's old now, but they actually brought in a Batman Who Laughs alternate skin. I don't remember who for.
Oh no,
but it awesome. Was. I don't remember. It's one of the.
See, that's where I'm saying. I think maybe that's why I like it, but I think DC's like kind of walking a tightrope line of being like straight up horror. But to be fair, some of the stuff is probably borderline horror.
I don't know. I saw Doctor Strange. That was pretty fucking borderline horror. So I guess DC and Marvel.
Thank you, Sam Raimi.
God damn! I remember looking over and being like, "I'm sorry, what the fuck just happened to that dude's brain?"
I think she,
God dang,
she spaghettified that guy.
Jesus Christ! But yeah, like I think that we're in this time now where we honestly, what I truly would love to see is if someone would go as far as to work with the Deceased series. Do a Deceased, like, I don't care if it's an animated like short film or an animated miniseries on HBO, or kind of like what's that, the Long Halloween Part 1 and 2 that they did.
Halloween.
The Longest Halloween. Yeah, like Jensen Ackles as Batman. I was waiting for some Supernatural references, but they didn't drop any. I was really disappointed.
That, like,
even if there's just someone in the show named Sammy and him going, Sammy, like at least once, but he didn't. I wish they would start going on the much darker route, because they did but the Dark Side something. It was the Justice League Dark Side, and that I mean, thank God it was animated, because I mean they killed everybody, and they killed them in the most horrific ways possible. Like Starfire got ripped in half, Beast Boy got like thrown into a blender, for God's sakes. Like they just killed everybody in the goriest way possible. That's the kind of stuff that I think DC needs to focus more on, because it's always been dark. It's always been gritty. I can't even say that, though, because, I mean, going back over into the Marvel side of things, there's a fucking comic of Doctor Strange getting his head blown up by the cape being wrapped around his throat by Dormammu, and he just, like, snaps his fingers, no Thanos reference or anything, and just blows his head up. Like, both sides have had their moments where it's like, the fuck did I just watch? Like... But I really wish DC would start focusing more on those kind of films, those more, the series, the spin-offs, the zombie universe, because, you know, I want to go back into zombies. I miss when everything was zombies.
Well, there is this running question as to whether they're going to eventually connect Robert Pattinson's Batman with this version of the Joker. I think it kind of makes sense a little bit time-wise, because... you could say that this upcoming movie takes place 10 years later, and then you would be getting the younger Batman who could still be Robert Pattinson. I don't know, maybe. I don't know how they would work that out. But, I mean, do you guys think they could actually connect these two films somehow?
Well, they already have a Joker.
They haven't. They can't. Never mind, they can't, because they've already shown the other Joker at the end of the movie.
But, like you said, it could be someone else. I mean, they did have that guy in that, was it at the funeral or whatever? When he goes there and like that guy takes him aside, and he's like, "Wait a minute, don't I know you?" Like that older guy, which I think is supposed to be Joe Chill, right? The guy that shoots his parents in the alleyway. I thought that was supposed to be the joke there, but if that's not him, then I don't really know who that could be.
Yeah,
it's like one old guy randomly was like, "Wait a minute, haven't I seen you before?" I'm like, "Oh shit, I think that's him."
No. Yeah, I honestly thought that they could do intertwine those two would be good, but again, like as Jeremy said, you would have Batman being in his 20s, which is what I guess, I don't know, I'm guessing he's in his late 20s now, in story wise, because I don't even know how old Robert Pattinson is. I know he's well over his 20s. But you'd have, you know, Joker, I mean, like, I'm coming for you. Takes out his chattering dentures and just throws them, and it's like,
that'd be pretty on point with Joker.
Give me a moment. I don't know. Plus the Joker they showed in Robert Pattinson's version, that's a really that's borderline. Jeremy, what's the comic with where he takes his face off and he like
uses his face?
Yeah, he pretty much uses his face as a prop anymore these days.
Yeah, he like pretty much Texas Chainsaw. He's like wearing a face on his face. That's like I said, that's the new 52 stuff where I'm like, this is straight up horror. I mean, I love it. It's kind of the new like really dark stuff and the really twisted stuff. I mean,
I really like the dark stuff that DC does. I mean, as much as I like Marvel and think Marvel's kind of kicking their ass all over the yard, I really like the fact that DC's embracing that dark, very mean, menacing tone in the stories. Yeah. Even with Superman, who's kind of a the way that he's always been portrayed, like
justice in the American way.
Yeah. Even though he's been kind of portrayed in a very light and airy way, I even like the fact that they made him kind of dark in all the in their recent stuff like Man of Steel. Yeah. So, I mean, I hope they do. I hope they kind of embrace it and just go with it. I mean, it'd be a nice contrast to Marvel.
I know everybody's been wanting like a darker series for superheroes, and then it's like,
you mean like The Boys?
If you want dark and gory, The Boys. Just go watch The Boys. Well, I want more gore, The Boys, but I want more sex, right. The Boys.
The Boys.
A dude.
You want superhero
Carl Urban drops some C-bombs. The Boys.
You want superhero horror.
What?
You want like superhero horror type.
Well, we kind of got that with Brightburn, and that didn't do very well.
That movie. Well, I've been talking about that for a week now because I always thought this new this girl movie?
Firestarter.
Firestarter. Because there was talks that this was going to start like a new series of movies where it's like an evil Justice League kind of a group of these kids coming together, because they do say in the movie that there's more kids with these abilities, and then it just disappeared off the face of the earth. And then you get Firestarter coming out, and I'm like, are we really getting together like a group of evil superhero children or evil super children or something? I'm like, I'm here for it. I will fund you. Just do it.
I was still waiting for them to do something with X-23 at the end of Wolverine. Like all those kids, all those superhero kids, and they all just took off to Canada. I'm like, hey, the hell?
They were in the
grow up and become
Illuminati
awesome.
building.
Right.
They were all in the Illuminati building. So,
Probably.
They're all somewhere.
But, obviously we care about what you guys think. So go down in the comments below and let us know. Are you guys excited to see... I forget how to pronounce it in French now. Joker Fale Adieu. I am not a French-speaking person, but it means madness of two. So
you did good.
Let us know what you guys think of potential for a Joker sequel, and would you guys watch it? But before we move on to our big retro review of Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, I think, Jeremy, you had an unboxing of some kind, didn't you?
Oh, yeah.
I did mine.
Yeah. Kind of beat me to the punch. Well, it's not Jurassic Park related, so.
Well, then I want to be here for it.
Well, you know what? Too bad. Yeah. So I don't know. I think the only other no, there's been a few pops where they're like, the $10, $11, and they say, "Oh, Frank's gone. Okay, well, screw you." So they'll say like, "Oh, the styles may vary," and they'll show you what they are, right? Like, I think the only ones I have that with are the Alex Trebek. So it's like, you could either get young Alex with, the mustache or holding the Jeopardy card, or I think the one I got, which I'm not mad, is somewhere up there. It's,
they actually have a new term for those now.
What?
They call them chases.
Yeah, chase.
Like a chase.
Yeah, chase.
I didn't know that for the longest time. I was like, what is that?
Yeah, chase friends. Yeah, so I think, because there he is. I've got older Alex, he's holding a Final Jeopardy card. And then Steve Irwin back there. Steve Irwin had either a crocodile or I think a turtle. So it's just like, whatever, take the chance, you might get something different.
I want the Steve Irwin with the crocodile. I've seen that at your house every time I come over, and I want one.
I got lucky. I'm like, I don't really care which one it is.
Do you have a Steve Irwin with a stingray?
I'm not even going to give you a joke for that. I'm gonna kick you off. He was a great man. Stop it.
I'm not saying he wasn't.
Look, they even put it in his chest. So realistic.
The stingray would be funny.
Steve Irwin with stingray.
Uh-huh.
Am I an asshole for wanting one of those now?
I think it would be great.
A little bit.
They could put little X's over his eyes.
You're done. Hey,
right.
You've already got the coffin. You've already got a coffin. You can just take the head off of Undertaker, put Steve Irwin there, and you could just, It's the Steve Irwin Sting edition.
So I'm the asshole for bringing up women's boobs and for making jokes about Steve Irwin's death. Woohoo!
Well, I didn't mind you bringing up boobs.
No, I don't think any of us minded.
Bibs.
We were totally fine with you talking about boobs.
Anywho, are we done? So, don't worry about this box. It goes over there.
Letterer.
Look, man. All right, now that this has been directed away from me, so let's see here. I didn't, but that's okay. So I got the normal version, which is cool. Yeah, there are actually only 2 in this set, which kind of made me think, you know what? Why not? Why not just get it? I already have the other pop over there, which technically 3 because there is the chase variant. But to be fair, this should technically be the rarer one because you saw this less in that movie than you did the other one. But somewhere, it's gonna bug me. So I don't know where in the hell it went.
Suspense is killing me right now.
I know I do this. I do it on purpose.
I want to see what you bought. Damn it!
Yeah. Hell, I don't know where it's at. Anyway, so I came here to buy pops and chew bubble gum. I'm all out of bubble gum, but I got me an ale.
Nice.
He's wearing the bubble gum. It looks like.
Yeah, right.
I love that.
Yeah, so there's actually only 2 in the They Live series. I have John Nada back there. The other one was the Alien, and to be fair, if you know the movie, I'm like, this would technically be more rare because you only saw this like the last 5 minutes of the movie.
Yeah. Is this the series with the guy where he's pointing, doing the weird thing, he's screaming? I can't think of his name. It's like Donald something, but I don't remember. It's just like, oh, shit.
Huh?
Okay, the guy from this is the only recent movie, The Hunger Games, the real bad guy, whatever his name was.
Oh, you're talking about the
his name's like Donald.
Yeah.
Donald Sutherland?
Yes.
President Snow.
Isn't he in that movie where he like?
He's not in this movie.
Like, I thought there was another movie where he's an alien or something, and he just like screams and points at the camera, all weird. Like, I'll have to look into that.
I don't know. But yeah, this is really, really cool looking. Yeah, the other, I see it now on the newspaper. That was the difference. Was the chase variant is actually the black and white one that you usually see in the movie, like the black and white alien through the glasses. And actually, the newspaper, which get my face out of the way, it has like normal stuff on it. I think the other one has like just the straight black and white, just says like obey or something on it. But yeah, that's cool. I'm not mad.
That.
Yeah, this
is
that. Cool. Gotta find John Nada. I don't know where the hell he went.
Movie scared the shit out of me when I saw it just for that alone. Like, it took me by.
It does get there. Like, as soon as you put it on, you see one of them. It's kind of like, oh, Jesus. Like,
whoa. Well, I just love all the people finally seeing them what they really look like. Yeah. And the guy in the bar is just like looking up at the TV. What's happening? Everybody's looking like.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what was cool.
I love that.
I think. Oh hell, I don't know. I don't. But yeah, there's that. And if you oh my God, he's the first goddamn pop. He's right there. All right, so I got John Nada next to Vincent Price, which is really weird, but I'm gonna put this up there with that. So
Vincent Price.
Yeah, I mean, I think these were like $50. I think for the chase variant itself to guarantee to have it, but it just said they may vary, and I'm like, I don't care. This is still cool.
I like that.
Yeah.
The paint job is.
Yeah, I'm like, I keep, dude. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I remember now. I mean, anyone who has adult money, and I'm gonna ruin your life. They actually have, they have like a really nice, really legit mask. It wraps it like it goes on you. $60-$70 for this mask of that.
Ooh.
The colored. I saw somebody wear it. I'm assuming the other guy was supposed to be like a cosplayer of Trump, and he was this alien with like the suit on, going like.
Ooh, okay, I like that.
I was like, really it looks really nice. It sits all the way around his head. It sat underneath his collar, and he had like the suit on. And I was like, and he painted up his arms. I could scare my
future kids with that, dude. I don't know my son's bed and be like, "Hello, my kid will go to therapy."
No, you wear that when your daughter is dating, and the guy comes to pick her up, and you answer the door with that on.
My daughter's Uncle Jeremy is going to be involved a lot.
I will ruin your kid's life. Trust me.
What the hell, guys? Hey, it was your uncle's idea. Let me pull up that Amazon order. I'm pretty sure it was you who bought this.
The corner's bad. That's not bad.
Oh, you do that too?
It's
Dude,
not bad. I think I did that when I pulled it out. I kind of clipped the corner.
When I went to Target, I'm sitting there looking up all these pop boxes. I'm like, that one's bent. That one's bent.
I look at the plastic. I look at the.
What's the difference?
Shut up,
Huh?
You're banned, remember?
What'd you just say?
I'm all for keeping in the box now, if you must know. But I'm just saying, it's still in the box.
Box!
What's in the box?
We should just have like a little
You
intro.
see
Just me doing
the
these on
new
boxes.
Moon Knight?
Oh, I have that. I need to
You
make you
do.
one.
That's true. That's true.
I'll make you one.
Believe it or
Moon
not,
Knight
the
pop
box
figure looks
condition,
really nice.
the box condition can affect the value of the.
Oh,
figures
yeah.
as well.
Really?
Very much. Oh, very much so.
So even if it's just in the box, that's not enough.
No. Like I have. There's a bend like right there as a crease. I'm like, it's fine. I don't.
There's a pop figure. There's a guy I started watching on YouTube, and I can't remember his name, but he goes to different like cons, and for all I know, Jeremy's probably walked right by his booth or even shopped with him. It's like Top Shelf Pop or something, or Top Pop. I don't know. I know his logo is him in an animated form holding a little animated version of him.
Oh,
which
I
is
think I know
holding-
what you're talking about. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but he'll go out and buy
Yes,
like
they will be.
bags and mystery boxes of pop figures, and he ended up opening up a pop figure for it was, I want to say, like How to Train Your Dragon, but there was like 3 or 4 of them that went out that were bad, and something was off about them, and he ended up getting one of them that was bad, and just how he was like, something's weird because it's what's that dragon with 2 heads, Barf and Belch, and he was like, this is like the same one I have, hold on, and he pulled the 2 of them, and like Barf's head was glued on incorrectly, so it's looking off to the side when they're both supposed to be facing forward. That little
more or less?
Way more. That one little imperfection raised the price of that thing, and it's just because you'll have people who want that.
Okay.
It's like, well, that one's very unique, even if it is just an issue. You had a lot of things like with the amiibos, if you are familiar with what those are. That was Nintendo's take on, I don't know what you'd say, because you had all these different video game companies now venturing into the toy scene, where you had like Skylanders and all these little things that you could put on a thing. Well, then Nintendo did it, but they did it better with coming out with these little like figures of all these characters. And there was one that I ended up almost buying until I realized that what I thought said $50 said $5,000. It's a dragon or Monster Hunter Monster Hunter amiibo that has like an ever so slight color difference to the wings on this dragon, and I was like, that's really cool. And then I realized that it was a either they did it on purpose and only sent out so many, or it was just a goof up that they used a different color paint that day when painting the thing. But it was, people go for stuff like that.
I was sitting here looking for that They Live mask, and I found a light kit for that DeLorean I had back behind me, and now I'm really upset because now I want that.
And Jeremy's now shopping for his next collectible.
The irony that now it's like, hey, you should buy stuff.
Oh, you're looking it up. I was looking up pop figures earlier. The one for Moon Knight that's not released yet looks fucking epic.
Which one?
The non-box head one. There's one that looks like... There's 2 Moon Knight pop figures I saw on the website. One had like a square head, and the other one looked more realistic. And the realistic one is like he's kind of like in this like movement pose, and it looks really nice.
I want the oh god, what's her name? The big crocodile. God, Amit was it? I want her.
No, the big crocodile was it Amit? No, Amit was the.
Yeah, Amit was her. It wasn't Khonshu was the bird.
Khonshu was the bird.
Amit was the other guy, the bad guy, wasn't he?
Was it? I already forgot what the hell Moon Knight was.
His name was something weird.
Oh,
I don't remember what.
By the way, there it is. There's the, if you can see it, that's the mask.
That's so cool.
It's like
that is so cool.
It's like $70. It's really well done. Like if I can find that picture of the guy who, there it is. Yeah, I'm assuming that guy's supposed to be like Trump. It's kind of a blurry picture, but like that's what the guy did. He wore it and was kind of like, hey, this guy.
I love them both pointing at each other.
Yeah, right.
I love that.
So
but yeah, I want her pop figure because she was cool. I mean, me and love that's sort of the way I do. I mean, it was fun to watch that. And when you take a female body and you smack a reptilian head on top of it, you're like, if you're slow panning the camera up, you're like, I'm liking this. And then you get up to the crocodile in your face, you're like, am I liking it? Am I not? Am I going to go to jail for this? If I now wandered into Rule 34 territory, what's happening? But we were watching it, and Haley looks over at me and she goes, well, I thought she was hot. And then I was like, oh, good to know I'm not. What is happening right now? Okay. Are they doing a season 2 of that? Are they doing more?
I don't know if we know yet.
Moon Knight?
Like
I have no idea yet.
There needs to be more to that. They ended that off in like a
little bit of a cliffhanger in that post-credit scene. Yeah. But I do want to move on to our big retro movie review that we have going on. Before we run out of too much time, I don't want to keep Jeremy and Brooding Gamer too much later because I know these guys have day jobs. They're not like me. And so does Cora, for that matter.
I kind of do, yes.
But, Lady Cora, what is the movie we're going to be talking about today?
Well, you could call it Jurassic Park World 5, or you could call it Jurassic World 2, whatever you want to call it. Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom is a 2018 American science fiction action film and the sequel to Jurassic World from 2015. Directed by J.A. Bayona, it is the second installment of the Jurassic World trilogy and the fifth overall installment of the Jurassic Park franchise. That's the word I was looking for, franchise. Derek Connolly and Jurassic World director Colin Trevorrow returned as writers, with Trevorrow and the original 1993 Jurassic Park director Steven Spielberg as executive producers. The film takes place 3 years after Jurassic World theme park was closed down. Owen and Claire return to Isla Nublar to save the dinosaurs when they learn that a once dormant volcano on the island is active and is threatening to extinguish all life there. Along the way, Owen sets out to find Blue, his lead raptor, and discovers a conspiracy that could disrupt the natural order of the entire planet. Life has found a way again. The film grossed over $1.3 billion worldwide, making it the third Jurassic film to pass the billion-dollar mark, and was the third highest grossing film of 2018 and the 12th highest grossing film of all time. Holy crap. It received mixed reviews from critics who generally praised the visuals and the darker tone, while others criticized the screenplay and felt the series had run its course. Mr. Brooding Gamer, who I like to call Alan Grant, what did you think of Fallen Kingdom?
So, I mean, that was one of those movies that I was literally screaming in my living room during the Super Bowl. I watched that solely for that trailer. When they, because I'm always like, what dinosaur are we going to show now? Because they always one up at every movie. They add more dinosaurs to the roster. But the
internet first. It literally was Super Bowl first.
I don't know. I honestly didn't know. But it's like, it's one of those movies that I went and I felt like they definitely wanted. God, they really hit home with the title of the movie being called Fallen Kingdom. Because for people like Jeremy and I who grew up with Isla Nublar, they just wanted to like take every bit of your heartstrings and just pull them as tight as they can and just fucking cut like with rusty scissors. They didn't do it gently; they just snapped through. I mean, you have so many moments in that movie where you're like, oh, okay. So you expect this to happen, but then it happens a different way. And then there are certain characters that you're like, oh, that guy's clearly a bad guy. You just scream bad guy, and then it turns out, nope. They kind of flip-flop and everything because, that's how the Jurassic franchise always tends to go, is they kind of lean you in different directions of who to hate and who not to hate. But it was definitely an emotional movie for those who followed the series because it was the last time we were going to be on Nublar. And not only was it just, hey, we're leaving Nublar, we're also going to be blowing it up at the same time to kind of give you that extra. Now what are we going to do? All we have left is Site B, and they have yet to travel back to that. But they introduced. I don't really know, like, the awkward relationship, in my opinion, between Blue and Owen, where I feel like at this point it's just a love triangle between him and Claire and Blue at this point. We get it.
Check that little dinosaur's DNA. We don't know what happened.
Yeah. But they definitely they leaned in a new direction to show that, Blue has. It's not that she's moved on, but she's lived in the wild for, I don't remember what the time span between Jurassic World.
3 years, I believe.
Okay. So she's lived on the island for 3 years just trying to survive. There's not been any human contact unless you involve Camp Cretaceous, which, again, they've now confirmed is canon. So apart from these children, she has had little to no human contact. And when he meets back up, he's doing all the things that he normally would do to, like, he's got his stance up. He's got his clicker, which, why the fuck do you just walk around with that in your pocket all the time? Like, Claire, click, click, come here. Like, and that I enjoyed seeing, like, he had no control over her at that point. And, he throws the food at her face and it just bounces off and she's staring at him like, the fuck you doing? Like, it seemed
like there was still kind of a recognition there where she was like staring at. She didn't immediately just jump him and start eating him. So
no, but it wasn't. It was funny in my opinion, just seeing that, like, fuck you. Like,
she's kind of like, really, dude? Okay,
you've been gone. Not a call, not a text.
Right.
Fuck you.
You don't even send me a postcard.
But yeah, like I fell in love. I wish we could have spent more time on Nublar. It was just an emotional ride going into it. I cried like a bitch when they all get, the volcano has erupted and you get all these really stressful moments where, I'm sorry, Chris Pratt should have been dead like 5 times over when he got shot with that tranquilizer dart and he's just like Woody the doll flopping around
around
like
the magma. 2 inches from the lava, I'm like, you would have died.
You're dead. Well, there was people who proved, they were like, no, he would have been dead. He would have already been.
You can't be that close to it and not die. I'm like, whatever. Okay.
And then, I mean, but when they get on the boat, which was another thing where I'm sitting there on the edge of my seat, like, oh my fucking God. Like, I look over and my friend Zach, who was with us at the time, he was like, the fuck? Like, the whole time we're dropping magma on dinosaurs. We're throwing. They killed the very first dinosaur we ever saw. They confirmed the Brachiosaurus. They actually came out and said that particular Brachiosaurus that we saw get taken by the magma was the very first.
On the dock, I cried.
Oh. And that became a lot of people. It was funny because there's a few other YouTube channels I follow that have already seen Dominion because it had come out in their country. And people were like, I don't want spoilers, but can you at least tell me if they kill off a certain dinosaur? Because my fiance said she will not go if they kill off because of the whole bullshit with the Brachiosaurus. And it's like, people are like, I cannot confirm nor deny anything. So, but it was a heartbreak because Colin Trevorrow had said the reason he did it that way was, and even the sound effects that they used specifically were taken exactly from the very first Jurassic Park. He said that it was the first dinosaur we ever saw on Nublar, and I wanted it to be the last dinosaur we ever saw on Nublar. And he had a lot of people, there was a lot of speculation on, there was like Easter egg after Easter egg just in that little scene alone with the Brachiosaurus like arching up to, I feel emotional just talking about it because, like, you think about it from a legit point of view, you have an animal that does not understand what's going on. It just understands. People are like, oh, it tried to get on the boat. That's what it was doing. No.
Escaping the wrath of the volcano.
Exactly. Normal animals, well, people are like, oh, it knows that it was left behind. No, it does not know that. It does not care. What it knows is that there's something behind it that's trying to kill it, and in front of it is extra land. It's not running to the boat, so people could relax with the whole, but it knew. It did not know. calm down. It was also fake. But it's still like this whole, like, you feel bad because they're leaving it behind. And now all of a sudden that we no longer have Brachiosaurus because they're now officially extinct again. Or they were. Dino Tracker website, plug in below. No. There's all these, it was just like they had ET reference with that because when it stands up and the light hits it, it's supposed to resemble his finger, ET's finger. When it arches up and the lava lights up, it reflects to look like an amber rock, which I thought was a really cool one.
Same here.
But when it's just it really hit hard for like 5 seconds, and then they're done, and then they're like, "All right, new story mode, let's go." And that was my only issue with Fallen Kingdom was they just hopped from one thing to another too quickly, and I felt like it's kind of like the Jurassic Park 3 problem.
I was about to compare it to that.
Yeah, there's too many things
time
going
on the island, but
But more people, but we wanted to be there more because that was like, we get it. Or in my opinion, I wanted to be there more, and that's what some people complained about in the YouTube community on the Jurassic Park side was people that that's where people felt more at home was on Nublar because that's where we grew up was on Nublar and Sorna, which for some reason
not like we haven't spent 3 movies on this island anyway.
Yeah,
and like 2 or 3 on Site B.
We've only had. I don't know. I consider it 2.5 if you want to compare.
I know. I'm like with this movie 2.5, but
yeah.
I mean,
but it's like it was kind of emotional, and I feel like there were some things they could have done differently. Yeah, yeah. There was things they could have done differently, and there was things that I think they hit the nail on the head. The Brachiosaurus, that was a ballsy move. It really was. And then when you come out and say, now again, if you went and saw that movie not knowing anything, you would have never known that Brachiosaurus was the Brachiosaurus or it was supposed to be until if you watch an interview on television with Colin where he's like, oh yeah, that actually was the very first, like the first dinosaur we see and the last dinosaur we see. I would say that this
movie.
Huh?
We're making another movie. There's surely more dinosaurs we're going to see. The first and last one we see on that island, I guess. That's true.
Well, the first and last on that island is what I'm
yeah, that's true.
But it was just like, there are certain things that I feel like, I don't know if it's just because I've seen so many movies or, you see so many movies and it's like you can find a bad guy the second they walk into a room and you get this jackass who's like, oh, I'm just here to help out. No, Ranger Rick, you're not. You've got a rifle the size. You've got a rifle the size of LeBron James.
I think I've seen this Jurassic Park movie before. I think it was called Lost World.
Yeah, and then you get, I'm going to collect teeth from dinosaurs. Like, how big of a dick do you have to be?
Yeah,
just to get dicked over by a dinosaur who learned how to fucking smile.
It makes you hate him though, and you're like, I want this dinosaur to kill this man, and we do get that at least.
Yeah, we did.
As cartoony as that shit was, where that dinosaur basically broke the fourth wall, looked at you and was like, I'm gonna kill this guy. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm already suspending my disbelief by believing that there are fucking dinosaurs in this world.
Yeah.
So, like, you're gonna do that. Okay.
Well, and I would say the biggest, like, what would you say, controversy was actually the whole point behind the movie, which was the Indoraptor. Like a lot of people at this point were just kind of getting tired of the hybrids. Like you had,
but that makes it terrifying because it's not something that we knew. It's something that like, this is uncharted territory where we have no idea what this could be.
Yeah, but this animal, you take the terrifying Indominus Rex and you shrink it down to
a raptor
the size of maybe a small or a large horse at this point. Like it's terrifying, and you have an animal that is so highly intelligent that this thing could probably beat you in chess, for God's sakes. Like there's multiple times where it learned how to psych people out, like Owen breaks into the room when it's pulling this boogeyman shit with Macy. Like it's seriously climbing down into her room and like putting its hand over to her, like going to pull the blanket off. It wasn't even going to grab her. It was pulling the blanket. And that's where I'm like, this thing knows too fucking much. There's got to be human DNA mixed in this thing because it's too fucking intelligent. I'm not thinking Planet of the Apes here, but Owen,
did you see my sign up here?
You blew it up, damn you!
You blew it up! Damn you!
Damn you!
That's how I felt with the Alan basically getting blown up.
I loved it.
Thank you for that segue. That was perfect.
You're welcome.
I was waiting for the moment. What did you think? Well, they blew it up. Damn it.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just like you have this dinosaur. Owen breaks into a room and he shoots it, and it's like, whimpering down in the corner, like pretty much licking its wounds. And then it just stands up, like, okay, now seriously, all right, do that. What else do you got? Like, and I don't know. This was another one of those, like, I loved it, but at the same time, I didn't. There was too much going on. I felt like, oh, you're a bad guy, you're going to die. Well, you're a bad guy, you're going to die. Well, you're a bad... Like, we had so many bad guys coming in all at once that I'm like, all right, we get it. We got it. We've understood. Now we're in a mansion. I'm waiting for Luigi to run by with a vacuum cleaner, for fuck's sakes. Like, where did we go from here? And then possibly the biggest, most controversial thing in all of Jurassic history.
Oh, please tell me it's the girl.
The cloning of a fucking human child.
Yep.
Which has nothing to do with fucking dinosaurs. It's just...
Well,
it does.
It has to do with Lockwood's particular storyline, though.
I know, but I think the whole Lockwood and the clone... I just think it's content that is unnecessary. Focus on the dinosaurs. That's...
I understand if they would not have gone through with it and been like, look, so here's the story. John Hammond and Lockwood broke it off. Well, why? Well, Lockwood was doing some things that were unethical and not, because bringing back dinosaurs is fucking ethical, but was doing things that John sought, okay, this is too much. We can't work. And if they would have said, he tried to bring back his daughter who died in a car accident and it didn't work, but the fact that he was going through all that to try, I would have been okay with that. But no, we have to go through the whole movie where half the time you're like, you're a clone daughter. Well, how do you know?
Nothing to do with
just
Jurassic
fucking look
Park.
at it.
Hey, all right. Well, if I'm gonna go into this now, I voted in the poll. Don't forget, there's a poll in the chat. I actually voted no. Did I like this movie? No, I did not. I didn't. I don't wholeheartedly hate the movie, but there were, and again, I watched it with Rachel. She hasn't seen it, so I'm like, okay, now I want to see how you took it, as opposed to me now having seen it, didn't like it initially. I seriously think I bought this a week or so ago because I'm like, I never even bought that movie because I didn't even care to because I watched it once when it came out. Sorry. Because then I'm like, okay, I'll give it another shot. But now it's me. No, it's just driving me fucking mad. I'm like, I know she's a clone. I know she's a clone. I know she's a clone. And I hate you for opening those doors. Fuck yourself. Kill yourself, girl. Sorry. I said it on YouTube.
Damn, bro.
But look, I'm sorry.
That's how you really feel.
I will.
How long before Rachel went, she's a clone? Damn it.
No. When we got to that, I felt like it was kind of like, what? Really? You can't just... Shyamalan, where are you? Can't pull a plot twist.
Sorry. Right here.
Can't pull a plot twist out of nowhere like that. Because then that brings a really deep implication into this movie where I'm like, okay, I get what you're doing with that. And also in the movie text, I'm like, I see what you're doing, but really? What? I think she had the same reaction I did. I was in a theater. I didn't burst out, but she went, what? I'm sitting there like, so it was coming. I'm like, yep.
No.
That's what happened. And then you totally just yeet, and you kill the guy right after dropping that bomb. I'm like, or not kill him, but he just gets attacked. I'm like, oh, okay, we're gonna breeze past that now.
Yeah,
and the other problem I have with this movie is the whole, hey, that guy that was there the entire time? No. Well, he was. No, he wasn't. Shut up. No,
I was always there, looming in the trees.
I didn't see the last 200 or 300, 400 Saw movies they made, but you're not going to sit there and tell me Carrie Yules was there the whole... Shut up. No, he wasn't. Whatever.
I hate it when they
I can believe the whole thing with Amanda where you're like, oh, now she heel turned and she started working with him kind of in the... But no, don't... 6 movies down the damn... I think it was actually about 6 or 7 movies down the line. You can't be like, oh yeah, he was there the whole time.
I hated the story for this movie, but I'm one of those people, I go for the dinosaurs. Obviously, you're going for a Jurassic Park movie for the dinosaurs. If I got to see my second favorite dinosaur in this movie, which was the Carnotaurus. I enjoyed seeing that thing.
Was cool.
I laughed my ass off so hard in the theater when this thing It shows up, the world is falling apart behind it, and the only thing it wants to do is just eat a fucking Sinoceratops. It's like, there's magma,
You're
but
fighting right now.
that fucking burger is looking really mighty fine tasty right now. So it's over there.
If I'm gonna die,
It tries, gets its ass kicked, and then it's like, oh, look, people.
Well, clearly that was a throwback to when Jimmy Buffett was trying to save his margaritas when everything was going to hell in Jurassic World in the first movie. So
Exactly. But I love it because then it's
the
like,
pterodactyl's going to eat me, but damn it, don't spill the margarita.
yeah, you know, like you get, and then it looks at the humans, and then
$20 for these, damn it.
It takes. I'm going to take one from my fiance's book here of "I'm going to get you," and that's a family reference that she'll kick me for later. But and it just starts going over there, and then now we gone ahead and throw in the mascot. Let's go ahead and get her out of the way. But they did a really good job portraying the dinosaurs. You know, there's a couple dinosaurs. Like I said, they were really brutal to some in this. Like, you know, they're in the gyrosphere. The gyrosphere scene, I have to say, I enjoyed the most out of the entire movie. Of them being in the gyrosphere, the looks on their faces, because the way they filmed that, if you've watched the making of it, was all like they made a gyrosphere on a roller coaster. And then when you see when it goes over the cliff and you see Bryce Dallas Howard's face and she looks legitimately terrified, because she is, they have it on a very steep, it's on top of a building, and it just goes down and it's like a roller coaster.
Nice.
So she's legitimately scared shitless. And just the way they did all these things, but there were so many times where I'm like, bullshit. I'm calling it, because like, you're telling me you're going to be in the water and you're trying to break a gyrosphere thing and you're not getting hit by multiple dinosaurs that are just willy-nilly jumping off cliffs.
Or they hold their breath for that long.
You missed every one of them.
I understand that Chris Pratt, they said he was in the Navy. I'm like, I'm sure he could do this, but you're going to tell me these two, I don't know. You know what? The only thing that I will say that I will redact from my initial watching of this movie, the guy who was like the IT, the tech guy,
forgettable character number 3.
Yeah, right. I forget his damn name already. I mean, I kind of went back to, like, I honestly thought, I was like, God, I thought maybe that was the point, but I'm like, you were so annoying. Like,
no, everybody hated him.
I was like, no. Like I said, I redacted that. I'm like, you know what? The second time watching it through, I was like, you're actually not as annoying as I kind of thought you were. Maybe I was a little harsh.
The scream was funny.
It was a little bit funny. He's kind of like comic relief, and I thought, you know what? You're actually not as bad as I thought.
I had to admit that whole scene with the baryonyx where he's like, it's a T-Rex. It's T-Rex. It's not a T-Rex. It's a T-Rex. It's like,
yeah, I'm like, you know what? You're not as bad.
This baryonyx just coming out screaming. Like, I remember being in the theater and my friend being like, did that dinosaur scream like a girl? I'm like, no, that was the kid. You just couldn't hear the damn dinosaur. Like,
he did have a nice arc. I mean, at least he kind of stepped up a little bit, and I think
he's in.
Did he like knock out? Yeah, did he knock out Dr. Wu and then like save what's her face?
I think so.
I think he like tranked him and then like got her out. I think Tia,
I liked her.
The Dino Vet. I'm like, I think she was my favorite character of that.
Like
I said, the only thing about this movie is
to be in this new movie too.
I hate how emotionally invested this movie made me in a damn raptor. I was bawling like, don't let Blue die. Don't let Blue die.
I'm right there with you. The highlight for me in this movie is the footage of watching Owen working with Blue.
Oh yeah!
Like I said, you were pulling gut punches left and right, showing her as a little raptor. It was
really sad because you see all the other 3 too that were there, and you're like, "Well, they're all dead."
My heart even sank when like that guy went down and he shot her. I was like, "Oh no!"
Did you get the dialogue cue in that scene?
Which scene?
When the video of Owen working with Baby Blue, Owen refers to Blue as his clever girl in the training video. He states, "Who's my clever girl?"
Did not.
Yes, it's you. In a similar, obviously, in a similar dialogue where Muldoon says, "Clever girl."
And I actually have the clever girl pop figure down here somewhere. Oh, it's at the very bottom of the box here, but I have my clever girl pop figure. I didn't notice that at first, to be honest with you, and now I'm gonna probably go back and watch that. I know Jeremy and I are actually.
Oh my god!
We're gonna be kicking ourselves for it later, but I think it's gonna be worth it. I'm gonna be going over to his place at like 6 a.m, and we're gonna watch every movie.
We're gonna watch every damn movie,
and then we're gonna
go see Dominion right after.
I told Haley that, and she's like, "Babe, you know you're gonna fall asleep at the movie." I'm like, "No, I will not." No, ma'am.
I told him like I know it's a Saturday, but I'm like I get up at 5:30 every day in the morning anyway for work, so I'm like that won't be bad. Like,
yeah,
I'll be able to get up enough, like let the dog out, do what I need to do. I'm like at 6 o'clock, I'll be ready to go. I'll have the movie in there and hit play. Like it's fine.
I'm down, and you've got them all. So I mean, I
have them all.
I just
I'm
watched
missing 3, but that's
movie
it.
Yeah, I've got
today, Fallen Kingdom, and I almost watched it a second time, but work got in the way. And I have to say that I'm with you guys that this movie is profound, but I also agree with you, Alan, that it's just not the best plot. I like I said before, I really am annoyed with the whole. I don't like. Sure, say this guy, give 5 minutes of background that this guy knew John Hammond. I don't give a shit about his cloning his daughter. I don't give a shit about all the. They spent too much time at the mansion. Sure,
I wanted
show
more
that
of a
his.
tour in the museum. Dude's house was fucking badass.
Oh, I know. That made me think of Lara Croft's house, the Croft
Yes.
Manor.
Yes.
Oh, good. I love that. Yeah.
Like with the big room, where she would. Yeah. So I wonder if it's even the same house that they filmed the first movie, and it looked very similar. But I don't know. I loved the auction scene. It reminded me of the movie
Yes.
where the girl gets kidnapped and the dad goes, I have a skill set. I'm gonna. Yes, where the girls are getting auctioned off, and it just it broke my heart seeing the dinosaurs getting put into shipping crates and trucked off right away, and it's just I don't know.
Fun fact: if you've ever seen that there was a short film, and I mean short film, it's like 4 or 5 minutes long on YouTube called "The Battle of Big Rock." If you have not seen Battle at Big Rock, you need to watch that because it takes place after Fallen Kingdom and before Dominion, and it introduced people living alongside these dinosaurs now, and it introduces the exact same Allosaurus that was shipped off in the containment from the end of Fallen Kingdom, because a lot of people were like, "Oh, whatever happened to those poor dinosaurs?" Well, that poor dinosaur, like, I don't know. I watched it probably about 5 or 6 times in the break room when I used to work at Lowe's. I sat there and just watched it over and over because I'm like, I want to see if I can find anything interesting in this. And it was really cool because you got these moments where, like, everyone's sitting in this caravan of, people camping and all this, and you didn't know, like, are they all just at a camping ground? And then the guy kind of hints that their house was destroyed by something, but he doesn't really say what. And then they kind of hint like, I miss the dog, stuff like that. But this herd of a dinosaur called Nasutoceratops comes through, and there's like a baby.
It's a cool name, by the way.
Isn't it though?
Rolls off the tongue like
it really
like
does.
A manufactured drug that they sell on television that cures, like,
has been known to cure. Yeah. But it's like they like kind of start bringing up little bits and pieces here of how people are getting along now these days with dinosaurs, and it's there. And this little girl goes, "Oh, that's a," and it really reminded me of Jurassic Park with the Gallimimus scene. But the kid's like, "That's Nasutoceratops," and the dad kind of looks. He goes, "How do you know that?" She goes, "Oh, remember when our school got closed because our playground got destroyed? It's because of those." And so you're like, "Oh, that's actually kind of cool to know that this it's just a little bit of info. You don't really need it, but it kind of it puts more in your head. Like, so you're telling me that a dinosaur coming into the school grounds could close school for the day? Like, that's actually pretty badass." And then,
sorry guys, we have raptor warning this morning. We're going to be a little bit late.
We did get a raptor warning. That was a tornado warning the other day, and I'm like, raptors. But it was just little bits of story that they throw in there. And I mean, I've never, like, there's moments in Jurassic Park where I've held my breath through a scene, but when they flip over this campground and there's a baby strapped into one of those like the feeding chairs where you ever car seat kind of a thing. But the baby's strapped to it. The RV has flipped on its side, and this Allosaurus is coming. Like it's kind of reminded me of a chain chomp from Mario, because it just kind of keeps doing this as it's coming in, and the baby is just hanging from the ceiling. and you've got the mom trying to get to the baby, this Allosaurus coming in, and I mean, I was sitting there, I'm like, I started getting really upset because you've got this baby screaming at the top of its lungs as this massive dinosaur is on the other side of it. The baby is screaming. I'm like, and the whole time I'm like, what did they have to fucking do to this baby to make it cry this bad? Like, they didn't animate this baby. This baby is legitimately
recorded a baby crying. I don't know.
Oh no,
Well,
Cora! If you watch,
they use twins and stuff and like TV.
Yeah, but watch this, Cora, and I'm telling you, with that scene, if you watch the baby, people actually kind of went after them and they're like, "What did you do to him or her? This baby is legitimately not okay." And I'm getting I actually think that there was points where the Allosaurus wasn't animatronic, so you've got this baby hanging upside down, and this life-size animatronic dinosaur coming at your face. This baby is never going to be okay again. It's like
the little Albert.
Oh my god! But the whole scene, and it was just the most badass thing. And then after that, they show all these little snippets of around the world, what's happening at the same time. And it's little things. Like there's a video from America's Funniest Home Videos with this little girl running around, and she's got these chickens that are chasing her. That was taken, edited, and instead of chickens, you get these compies that are chasing this little girl around. You had that. You had a wedding photo with the bride and groom throwing the doves up in the air. And as they throw the doves up, these pteranodons just dive bomb and grab the birds and fly away. And then it was just all these cool little scenes, and they're playing music from The Lost World. So they kind of brought that back. And it was cool. It was about 5 minutes long, and it told you pretty much an entire movie's worth just in that 5 minutes. Proof that Jurassic World can do that, focus on one goddamn story, and not have to pull out. By the way, remember that villain? Or as Jeremy put, yeah, we were there the whole time, you know? So, yeah. It's just, I feel like that is the one thing, and the only thing I can confirm. I haven't seen Dominion yet, and I really am excited to see it. But I do know the only non-spoiler thing, there's only 2 stories. You have our original characters meeting our new characters. And you have Owen trying to...
new characters, though, because I saw some interview about the new people. Someone's a pilot, and someone is a researcher.
Mm-hmm. And then they've brought back... our legacy characters, of course, and then we've also got Dr. Wu, which
and the clone girl's back too.
Don't even care.
God damn it.
I literally bought every pop figure but hers.
I don't either.
I was like, don't even care about Macy.
Can we talk about? I mean, the thing that infuriates me, not only that, but infuriates me the most about the end of this damn movie.
What's that?
When the gas is coming in, and they're like, "Oh no,
I knew this was coming. I knew this was coming."
There is. Look. I know. Everyone's like, there's dinosaurs. Shut up. I know there's dinosaurs, but there's dumb shit that doesn't have to happen. I know we wouldn't have another movie, but the gas is coming in. Oh, crap, the dinosaurs are going to die, which was kind of the whole point of this movie. Like, oh, should we save them? Should we not? We're in this situation now. They're like... You
kind of think about it. It wouldn't have mattered because, yeah, if those dinosaurs in that building would have died from the gas, they're still the ones that were already taken away and shipped off to God knows where.
I guess.
So, I mean, but there was that whole thing. I remember a guy like 3 rows behind us when she's like, they're alive, like me. And the guy's, oh, fuck you. Like, they're not like you.
I didn't have a problem with her like releasing the dinosaurs.
Oh, I did.
But that line is like they're alive like me. I'm like, well, I would have liked that line a lot more had they explored her journey as a clone more than just using her being a clone as shock factor. Now, I did like the idea of like if this dude Lockwood and Hammond were really tight, and then Lockwood decided to do this thing because his daughter died, so he cloned her, and that's when even John Hammond, who's like, I'm okay with cloning dinosaurs because of whatever reason, but I'm not okay with cloning humans because that's a step too far for me. I kind of got that. Hey. But I did like the fact that they kind of, because let's face it, when it comes to cloning anything, one of the first things that most people think of is like, you know, do you clone humans? There's ethical questions that everybody kind of struggles with that. So I like that idea. I actually don't think they made it a big enough part of the story. I wanted
That's
that to
what I'm
be.
saying.
I wanted that to
You
be part
bomb
of.
dropped it and then just left it there.
I
Like,
wanted
what?
that to be a bigger part of the emotional struggle for some of these characters somehow than just kind of like, oh yeah, it's the clone of his dead daughter, and then okay, back to dinosaurs, and it's never really examined. I hope it's
If they
something that they
don't-
examine more in this new movie at an emotional
Yeah.
level, and not just
Yeah,
oh, remember her? She's a clone. Okay, now back to dinosaurs again. If either
She's a synth.
either explore that thing
Right.
about her, or don't even mention it at all. That's kind of what I
I
want to
like
see out
that.
of this next movie.
I think they shouldn't talk about it anymore. They spent enough time with this in the second movie.
Well, no, the thing that after I had to ask, I kind of went off. Rachel's like, Jesus. I'm like, well, what did you think about that? She's like, she understood. She's like, well, that's. I mean, as a clone, I'm
She
like,
did.
well, do you think like she's not a normal human? But it's like the only thing that she really had to relate to were the dinosaurs. I'm like, yeah,
she
to be
knew,
fair.
though. You
I could
agree?
see
Because
that.
after she looked at those photos, she saw the woman that she thinks is her nanny, who really is her mom. In the picture
Wait,
of her
what?
mother.
I
No,
thought
she-
it was
no.
just her.
She's not
No,
her mom.
That's just
That
her
looked
name.
just like her,
See,
though.
that confused the shit out of me when I watched it the first
Okay.
time. That's
That's
why I
not
didn't
her
watch it,
mom.
because I'm like,
Says
I was like, who is this woman?
Because she says I raised them both.
Yeah.
Meaning that she
Picture
was
the
nanny
also the
with the
nanny to her
daughter.
mother, and when her mother dies suddenly,
well be-
she also
Might
has
as
a
well be a surrogate mother then.
yes.
Yeah,
Surrogate
that's
mother
why that
makes
movie
more sense.
confused me. Like there was so much
I
going on
want-
with that, and I'm like, what?
There was actually, it was funny because it kind of reminded me of like the whole Stranger Things thing. I know that's super random, but you're here, and I know I won't make you talk out loud. But what was the redheaded girl from Stranger Things?
Max.
No, she got killed by the Demogorgon in the pool.
Oh, Barb.
Barbara. So Barbara got killed, but she became like a huge fan favorite for a long time where people were like, let's do a spinoff on Barbara. Let's make more stuff for Barbara. And they even had her on talk shows. But when the end of Fallen Kingdom, you don't know where the nanny went. She didn't die. They did confirm that, but she just left. So everyone was like, well, is she going to come back? Can we have her back? We want more of her because everybody loved her.
Maybe dude
But,
did kick her out. So
Yeah,
He did.
true.
What I one thing that nobody has even brought up yet was they like the introduction of probably the most, in my opinion, the fan favorite dinosaur of this movie. Like, yeah, you had Blue and everything, but when they introduced the Stiggy Moloch, or they just call her Stiggy, probably the most adorable motherfucking dinosaur I've ever seen. I absolutely loved her and her comedic, like him just letting her loose. You know, it's like when he's like, hey, we'll just piss off this poor dinosaur till she headbutts a wall and we can get out through there. So he's just sitting here constantly pissing off this poor dinosaur, but letting her loose in this entire room when you have all these men with guns, these cages full of very aggressive carnivores, but this one specific little dinosaur just manages to cause as much chaos as possible, just running, throwing things left and right. And it was, I loved her.
With all
and
these
I want,
men with guns,
Well-
they don't leave one person down there to guard these two that are likely to escape.
no.
Cameras.
Well, to be fair, if you
Bars.
have
Like a
bars
Bond
that can
villain.
hold, if you have cages that can hold a dinosaur, you wouldn't think that a human could break
Well, I
out.
don't think they realized that dinosaur did get out. That's
But you also then get that dumbass who's like, I'm just gonna step
I-
on in this cage with this dinosaur. And
I say
just
this all the
take it
time.
to-
I say this all the time to piss off all of my friends over on the Horny Goat channel. Go check them out as well. They're doing all the Marvel stuff right now. It's called suspension of disbelief.
I know, Frank.
It works for
hold
the
on.
movie, so you just accept it because you don't want to think that much about it all. It works.
I
For the
don't know.
movie.
No, well, where I was going actually with my point at the end, not. I never thought of it that way. Like when Rachel said, "Well, yeah, she relates to the dinosaurs." I'm like, I guess, but like, no. My point
That's all
is,
you have.
whatever. My point is, I'm like, yes, whatever. There's dinosaurs in this world, but this is a real thing, and this pisses me off. Like I said, the gas is coming in. Bryce Dallas Howard's like, boom, she hits the button, she lets them out of the cages. I'm like, okay, but and Rachel said, she's like, now what? I'm like, I was like, wait for it. It's the biggest goddamn plot point. I don't care that you want a sequel, but then they're like, because she goes to hit the big button to open the door, and then Owen's like, you do that, there's no going back. I'm like, you're right. And so she kind of like hesitates. And then the point that this movie pissed me off, all of a sudden, boom, you see the door open, and it's that little shithead girl who's like, oh, they're alive like me.
Fucking right.
I was like, fuck you. Wait a minute. But no, hold on. I'm like, why didn't you just keep them in the thing, open the door, and vent the gas out? Problem solved. They're still
I
locked in
don't
their
know that you
cage.
could.
No, you could have. She was like, "Oh, unlock, 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 unlock," and then
Well,
the
it's
big
just
red
like
button
in
was
the-
the door. I'm like, why didn't you just open just the door and leave the dinosaurs in the cages? Let the gas
Doesn't that
vent
throw
out.
back to Jurassic World, the
Stupid.
first one, when Indominus Rex? Why the fuck, if you're trying to contain this thing, do you have a door big enough for it to walk through? Why isn't there a human man door for them to open
Well,
and
they
close?
had to get
for
it
them
in
to
there
escape
somehow, I'm
through?
sure. But like, I don't know. Why they just like use
know
a
what
big
I'm saying,
crane and
though.
just drop it in?
As someone
Series
who's
with
been playing a
doors
lot
is
of Jurassic
stupid.
Park games, yes, that could have happened. It's
Why
just
the
like, oop.
I'm just saying, you could have just vented the damn room when keeping
Yes.
them in the cages still. I know you wouldn't have a sequel, but whatever. I don't know. Just her pushing that little button and being like, they're alive. Like,
Well, part of
well,
that
now,
scene,
jackass, now they are.
part of that scene though is Claire making that choice. She wants to save the dinosaurs. That's her whole.
I
purpose
know,
of
but
the
then it
whole
didn't
movie.
matter.
But at the same time, she understands that if some of these get out, especially the carnivores, that
Yeah.
if one of them gets loose in a town, then it could be disastrous. That there could be
No,
hundreds, or
like
even
we
not
said, not
thousands of
like-
deaths.
Not like
If
he
you want-
said NGen didn't take the other dinosaurs out anyway. I'm like, true, but
If you want to make that scene even more dumb, you just have her go, "They're alive, like me," and then another hand, and then Owen be like me," and then everyone just keeps saying, "Like me," and the hands just keep piling up.
don't do an
And they
Avengers
just slam.
thing, damn it! Don't do that. No.
But
The camera
I
pans around in a
thought-
circle to all of them as they're getting ready to hit the button.
yeah. I
know.
felt so bad though, because like at
Blue
the end
there,
of that, you get that jackass who's like everybody running out the gates, and then all the dinosaurs pouring through. And then you had him come out, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just going to hide under this Jeep,
Oh,
and
the
then that'll
truck,
protect
Yeah,
me."
because that works
No.
out so
But
well over the course of this franchise.
You get him come out, and then you get another Carnotaurus, which they have confirmed is the Carnotaurus from Camp Cretaceous. So if you've seen Camp Cretaceous, then you know this. Obviously, this came before Camp Cretaceous, but they kind of gave the dinosaur a story behind it. His name is Toro, if anybody even cares. He's got a broken horn and everything.
My
I love
neighbor
it.
Toro.
You my neighbor Toro.
You're welcome.
But it's like, I don't know what it is about the Carnotaurus that they hate so much that this poor thing cannot. It's
Can't
like she's
break?
like, yeah, they're like they beat the shit out of it every time they see it. And it's like, Rexy, calm the fuck down, chick.
Yeah, with
like it's
her.
all right. She grabs the thing. She won't even let the motherfucker have the guy's leg. He goes to grab the leg, and she's like, no. But I had to say, I really loved the her final roar they had to get. That was probably the first time we've seen her do that roar, even that position when she roars. And I was expecting to see like when the dinosaurs rule the earth
The
banner
banner.
fall in front of her. But that was the exact pose and the exact roar that she did. And they even took the audio from that final roar of Jurassic Park and used it for that. But they aged it up a little bit to make her sound older.
I do
So-
like that. I do like that parallel that she's roaring at that lion. I'm like, yeah, the assumed king of the jungle, and now she's like, nah, bitch, now it's mine. Like,
Do you want to know
I
what
love
happened
that
to that
parallel of
lion?
her screaming at that lion.
Do you want to know what happened to that lion? Because I
I'm
can
pretty
tell you
sure.
what happened to that lion.
I'm pretty sure it got eaten.
I'm pretty sure.
So yeah, the Dino Tracker, website has covered all of that as well. Like they'll go in there and it was like, this is like you highlight certain things and the zoo was one of the locations. And the guy, it's just a report as if this guy works for the actual police. It's just a police report of what he says he saw, and he's like, I went into the zoo fully prepared for what animals I knew that they had, and I went into Rosie, which is the lion's name was Rosie, which is weird because it was a male lion.
Whatever.
Roslyn, not Rosie, it was Roslyn.
Cool.
He went in there. The lion was live. She actually just kind of like had her moment, but the lion was roaming in its enclosure, and he says that the lion was acting very strange. I was fully expecting Rosalind to be the one that had escaped, but it wasn't her. And he said, I see the damage done further to the zoo, so I don't know what Rexy did in that zoo, but she had a field day. And according to the report from this guy, which a lot is redacted, she did a lot of damage to a lot of animals. So PETA would be very unhappy to read that report. But he goes and he says that a particular individual approached me wanting to pay me a lot of money to not tell my story, but also give them more information. They don't say who that character is, but the way they kind of lead into it is that it could be like, he said that it says the guy's name, but it's redacted. So I have an idea who it could be, but it's a lot of fill in the blanks of what happened between Fallen Kingdom and leads into Dominion. There is a few reports of Blue running around a neighborhood and eating dogs. So I was like, because at the end of the movie, you see Blue standing on this rock and then overlooking a neighborhood. So I'm like, so did Blue just instantly start going over and eating all the Fidos she could?
Which is kind of a callback to the Lost World where the T-Rex ate the dog out of the doghouse. So
I hated that.
And that's the other thing is I'm like, a lot of people are also saying like this is not only with Jurassic World, but now this second Jurassic World movie that they parallel the first and second Jurassic Park movies. I'm like, yeah, you basically had the young, rich, snobby guy who was totally not the same guy as, Hammond's nephew. I'm like, yeah.
Okay, this is one of the things that bothered me from the beginning about this movie. Is this
it's the same story?
It's this. Why is it always some corporate pencil dick motherfucker who's trying to make money off dinosaurs and fucks everything up? Couldn't they have figured out some other mechanism for this thing to happen? Because in the first movie, if you count Nedry in that vein, the second movie, the fourth movie, and this movie, it's all the same thing. It's all about it's either some faction of InGen or some other asshole is trying to profit.
Well, I get the corporate greed thing. That never stops. I understand that.
I get it, and I understand that. But when it comes
to like, you're like, damn it, InGen.
But when it comes to the storytelling, I'm like, can you not come up with another way to tell the story where the bad guy thinks that he has the right to go do what he does, instead of just like, oh, I have a bajillion dollars, and I'm gonna get these dinosaurs so I can sell them for $1,000,000,000 and make all this money. It's like
that's what I like about. Yeah.
How is it, after everything that happened in the original Jurassic Park movies, that on this new island, they had any doors with the handles velociraptors can open?
Wouldn't figured it out. I don't know.
Well, I think maybe it's because the people that found that out probably didn't live long enough to push that information out to the rest of the world.
The Indominus
everything has to be a key
raptor guy opening doors with the handle. It's like, what are you? Oh, actually, technically, it was the mansion at the girl's house. So never mind. But the point is, okay. In case dinosaurs ever exist, if you in your house, if you can hear me, have any door handles that look like that, get the round knobs. Change them all out. Don't worry about zombie apocalypse prepping. Don't worry about dry food.
Yeah.
Just change your door knobs.
The one thing with what you're talking about, Frank, that I love, because it's always like whoever's the richest is usually the worst of the characters. With like a lot that they've been showing with Dominion coming out, that a lot of it is just like the whole world, what they've done. Like you have dinosaur fighting rings now, which for a fact, if this were legit, how this if real, you would have that happening. You would have a raptor fight ring. You'd be using the dog fighting dogs for the training of the raptors.
But how would some dumb shit asshole redneck somewhere in the middle of the United States managed to catch a couple of raptors to fight? Because it's like Owen Grady, who is very, very intelligent in these matters, can't just walk out there and catch a raptor without great effort. How do a bunch of assholes, a bunch of idiots just find some dinosaurs that they can throw into a pit and watch them fight for money?
It's all about money. If you can get a bigger company to do it, you can buy them from that company.
Just like you said, I'm like, it did, like I said, it did happen in the Walking Dead comics where you're like, oh yeah, you would totally believe these guys have this weird Coliseum fight with like walkers in it. Like, people still need entertainment. I'm like,
that would happen.
I know. I'm like, the governor had this thing where he had like these Coliseum fight nights with people fighting in the ring or just having these walkers in there too. I'm like, yeah, cool. I believe that. I really do. So,
yeah, I mean,
I know zombies and dinosaurs are a little different. One's a little easier to catch than the other, but like,
yeah, there's a particular dinosaur that I found. I think I mentioned it a while back. It's a baryonyx with a prosthetic arm. It will appear in Dominion, but it does not get any explanation. It's just there. But if you read the back of its box, because it was like a figure, it talks about how it was a genetically modified baryonyx, so that it only got the size of, I think it said like a large dog. So you get these companies that are now getting a hold of other animals breeding them specifically for this point, and now you've got this dinosaur that has obviously kicked enough ass to where it lost its arm, and instead of doing away with it, they literally gave it a robot arm. So I swear to God, if it has any function, I will be like, okay, guys, if it's there, I'll be fine. But if it actually moves with it, I'm going to be like, okay, hold on now. But that's the kind of stuff that we would expect to see. And I mean, this isn't really much of a spoiler because the company who, the game company who does Jurassic World Evolution is coming out with a pack called the Black Market Pack. And it has all these dinosaurs that aren't part of Biosyn. So they had a Biosyn pack that's coming out, just called the Biosyn expansion. And then they have this other pack coming out, but it's called the Black Market Pack. And it goes into like a lot of this interesting things. So, like one of the items, and I thought it was incredibly fucked up, is a, you know, like those things you put the pig on, the what is it, where you crank it? A spit.
Spit.
It's a spit. It's that, but it's got compies on it. I'm like, no, I knew that was going to happen. I even predicted that it's just, small dinosaur about the size of a chicken. Let's just go ahead and stick a fucking stick into it and cook it over a fire. I knew it was going to happen.
Jeremy's mispronunciation just then was a racial slur. That's funny.
I was like, sorry, Frank. You know what I meant. That's not what I meant.
I know. I think it's funny.
But yeah, that's just like, we get to the point where now we're using
I'm
dinosaurs.
the most hated demographic. I'm a white, straight male. American male at that, so I know. I understand.
You son of a bitch.
I know.
Let's go over a little bit of trivia before we start to wrap this thing up, because we are running a little late. But I did see that, and maybe Brooding Gamer, you can attest to this a little bit, because I didn't count them, but I read this and I thought it was interesting. This movie features more breeds of dinosaurs than any previous movie in the franchise, with 13.
That's true.
And that sounded, as I was reading it, getting ready for the stream, that sounded right, because I had just watched the movie today, and I was thinking to myself, there had to have been 8 or 10 different kinds of dinosaurs just in that caged area alone, not to mention the ones that we probably saw on the island that maybe they didn't get in the first half of the film. So it sounded about right. That's a whole lot of dinosaurs. It's odd to think that in all the movies up to this point, especially including the first one, they didn't give you a good amount of dinosaurs, at least small ones, to kind of help sell the idea that they were actually doing this.
Didn't they mention in the movie too? They were like, "Oh, we started with the original 8, and now there's like this many." I'm like, "Oh, that's true." Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And they did mention, like I said last week, they did mention Sorna, so it is canon. So I'm happy about that.
Yes.
Yeah.
But also, and this goes back to the cloning thing. Whenever Macy is shown, the camera spends a lot of time zooming in on Macy's eyes, in a way that is eerily similar to how we are often seeing the other dinosaurs when we get those shots of their eyes, kind of hinting at her true nature of being a clone. Which I thought was kind of interesting.
I could have guessed that.
I never thought of that until I read this. I was like, and I kind of went back over the movie in my head a little bit, scenes that I could remember off the top of my head. And I was like, they do spend a lot of time with those close views of her face, so it kind of makes sense.
But like that only makes sense to the fucking cinematographer and the writer who thought that was clever. I'm like,
did you notice that when she is looking, she's kind of hiding behind the glass of one of the dioramas in her grandfather's museum, and the Indoraptor is looking in at her
after the lights go on?
The parallel, that was cool.
Their faces lined up, and I actually watched that the second time watching it. I was like, oh wow, they really did line her up, like her teeth line up and everything. Mm-hmm. Everything about her lines up.
That's true.
Perfectly with that whole scene, and when she screams, it even roars. I was like, I don't know if they had already kind of dropped that she's a clone. I think they may have.
Was that the bomb drop after? I think it might have been.
No,
because the Indoraptor got out, right?
Yes.
They said it, and then the dude got attacked, and then it got out, and then it might have been. But wait a minute. How they perfect? Well, assuming they perfected this human clone, but they didn't perfect. I know they didn't perfect the dinosaurs. Obviously, there's gaps in their DNA. But I'm like, but you perfectly recreated this human.
I swear I was.
In the next movie, you're like, oh, she's part raptor. Fuck you, I'm walking out.
She can.
No, we don't need that. No, Alan Grant still got that little resonating chamber. She's like, bitch, I got this. And she just like roars like a fucking raptor. I'm like, okay,
Oh, I'm telling
Nope.
you, if that happens, Jeremy, I'm leaving the theater.
I'm not dealing with that.
I will leave the theater. I'll wait out the lobby, and you can tell me about the rest of the movie when you come out.
Anywho,
Would that be as scary as you going out in the woods to film a video by yourself at night in the woods?
I don't want to talk about it. That
was
video
just going
doesn't
there.
even
You weren't there. I saw it for real.
So we don't talk about stingrays. We don't talk about being out in the woods alone at night. Got it. Okay.
We don't talk about Bruno. Next.
We don't talk about
We
him
don't
either.
talk about Spino.
Thank you.
Colin Trevorrow was noted as saying that the T-Rex is kind of a hero to us at this point, and J.A. Bayona, the director of this film, was eager to expound on the giant dinosaur's cultural symbolism, saying she represents the result of our sins towards science. Bayona said she is the monster to remind us that we're doing the wrong thing with dinosaurs. Every time we cross the red line, we have the impact of a T-Rex there to remind us that we're not doing the right thing. Kind of that's like when Macy's kind of stepping back away from those two guys that are having the conversation. She actually shows that very clear image of her stepping past that red line. That's what he's talking about, and that's when she almost gets clipped by the dinosaur that's in there. I've always thought that they've kind of slowly made the T-Rex the hero of this entire franchise. It seems like, because in Jurassic World, it's like she runs and gets the T-Rex to fight the Indominus Rex. And then it's like the T-Rex always seems to be there to...
Getting their ass kicked.
Not so much in the first movie because they're trying to get away from the T-Rex, and it's like the raptors come in and mix up the T-Rex and give a chance to get away. But it seems like so many times they've kind of subtly given the T-Rex this hero role over the course of the franchise. Have you guys gotten the same thing from that?
Yeah, you can't tell me you don't get a little bit of chills and start cheering for Rexy when she comes in to save the day.
Yeah,
I mean,
It was a little comedic when they were trying to get her
love her.
blood.
that
Oh,
was
yeah.
funny.
I mean, it's
That
like
was fucking funny.
That whole
they weren't
scene,
even that scared of her.
that whole scene I read today was actually the brainchild of Chris Pratt.
That's funny.
Oh.
That he had sat down with J.A. Bayona and talked about a lot of scenes, and he was just like, I want to do something. And he had mentioned like the idea of getting blood from T-Rex to give to Blue, and he kind of like they made up that scene together, just kind of sitting down BSing one day talking about the character, and that ended up getting
That's
filmed
awesome.
and getting put in the movie.
I wonder if that's also going to come back to bite them a little bit, because no pun intended, to bite them. But like, thank you. Because remember, Dr. Wu comes in there and he says like, "Well, I need to do something with Blue," and then she's like, "You realize she's now mixed with the T-Rex blood? Like, she's not pure."
It's a
like,
sock. It's a sock drawer in there.
Yeah, it's a sock
He
drawer.
was
she
so
said.
mad. He was so livid.
I'm
then
like,
he got
yeah,
knocked
well,
out.
you didn't expect that, but it's like, I saved your dinosaur, man. Like, what do you? I'm
Yeah.
sorry that now she got an infusion with the T-Rex, but like, I don't
She's
know
not
what to tell you. She lived.
She's not 100%, dude.
Which makes
Yes.
it kind of fitting that you get that visual of her after the Endoraptor falls through the roof and gets impaled by those horns of the Stegosaurus. Is that am I right, Brooding Gamer?
Triceratops.
Triceratops, sorry.
Yeah.
Getting impaled by that, how, like, when you see Blue standing on top of that body as, life is leaving.
It's not like,
and then Blue gets that moment to kind of, like, yell, roar up at the sky. That actually seems kind of fitting.
Yeah.
Now, note this. Jurassic World, Rexy's
the
doing okay. Rexy gets her ass kicked. Blue comes in, saves Rexy's ass. Rexy would have died if it weren't for Blue. Did Blue need anybody to help her out when she's kicking this thing's ass? Nope. Blue did it all by herself. Rexy,
Dude,
you don't even know where she's at this whole time. She's just kind of like,
right.
it's like, look over here.
Well, it isn't until after that Rexy gets let out of the cage, right?
Yeah, because we don't see her until the end.
Because that's when we
out.
see Rexy roll out and wreck shop against on the asshole of the movie anyway, the main villain, when he's trying to get away with the rib bone,
The endo bone.
Yeah,
The Indominus, yeah.
Indominus Rex.
She wasn't even in the big pile, like when they're all in that big corral and they're all screaming and panicking
Yeah,
to
where
get
did
out.
she come from then?
She must have just still kind of hanging around in the hallway or
Well,
something.
remember, you did say they did have other dinosaurs. Maybe she got away from them and then came in to help. I don't know.
I don't know.
They used dinosaur social media and asked for help.
That's what all those noises make that the raptors will learn to make. It's just like
Instead of a
some
tweet,
kind of
it's
weird
a,
Mother
it's a
Nature social media.
yeah. Instead of a
Tweet,
tweet,
tweet.
it's a dino roar or something.
Which is funny because dinos are closely related to birds, so that would be even funnier.
Yeah.
True. Dinosaurs use Twitter. It's canon now.
It.
It's in the movie, damn it.
I wanna follow Blue on Twitter.
Oh, don't do that. Someone's probably ready. Oh, god damn it.
Lots of
that's what you
pictures
should-
of little baby Blue.
Yeah.
That's what you should do, Brady
Yeah.
Gamer. You should start like a satire dinosaur account on Twitter. And just put out jokes out there all the time. There's got to be some
You
joke to be
verified.
made about like dinosaur poop on a bed, and
You shit me thinking about it
put
already.
like Ian Malcolm standing there like cleaning his glasses like he is in the
That's
first movie.
one
He
pile of
looks at
shit.
he looks at that big pile of Triceratops shit on the bed and he goes, "That's one big pile of shit." And Johnny Depp's in the
man.
corner like, "What?"
The gears,
I love
the gears are turning. Man.
I want to do a Blue account and pretend to be Blue, just doting on my little baby, doing pictures of the baby all the time and talking about feeding the
Then-
baby and when he's
But then you have
napping
to-
and
Then you have to open up an account for Beta, and then have Beta and Blue like put Beta posting pictures she shouldn't be, and then have Blue on there be like, "What are you are not posting stuff like that." I'm like 1 year old now, Mom. I'm like old enough.
I'm
to
a
do
full
this.
grown dinosaur.
I
Yeah,
love
Blue
it.
doesn't. She's like, baby formula shortage. You kidding me? I'm a dinosaur. I don't need that.
I'll just go get a dog down the street.
Right.
You know?
The couple down the road just had puppies. What are you talking
Lock
about?
your
I got-
labs up. Blue's taking her kid out to get some lunch.
Oh no.
I want a Happy Meal.
Oh.
A Happy Meal as a child to a dinosaur.
Damn
Oh, Frank there.
it. This is terrible.
Somebody had to.
Yeah.
But you know, this is also the first Jurassic movie where a human is killed by another human.
Oh.
I never really thought of that until I read this. I was kind of going back over in my mind, and I'm thinking to myself, well, I mean, you could say
Wait a
that
minute.
Nedry was responsible for a lot of deaths because of what he did, but I mean,
Well, no, not
actually,
directly, though.
but
Correct.
actually, a human goes out of his way to actually kill another human being. This is what happens when Lockwood is murdered by his little assistant guy who wants to try to make all the money off the dinosaurs.
Now, Lockwood was so stupid to say, well, you need to call the police. He should have said, good job. Then as soon as he left the room, call the cops.
Why did you put the
stupid.
phone on a pillow?
Yeah, Lockwood got all the money in the world, but the dude couldn't keep a 9mm next to his bed. I keep a 9mm next to my bed. All the money in the world, that big ass house that is essentially a museum that he lives in anyway. And you didn't have one single gun next to you in the bed. That's.
If I were Lockwood, I'd have a shock collar on that boy. He's running my company.
maybe what he did is, after he put the pillow, put him to sleep, maybe he just tapped him on the head and said, "That'll do, pig. That'll do."
Oh,
You're welcome
good
for the
Babe
reference. I
Same
love that
actor.
movie. James Cromwell's
Very nice.
awesome. I love James Cromwell, but you're not going to convince me that guy was there the whole time. Like, come on.
I know.
God damn it.
Before we get to our final thoughts in this movie as we start to get out of here, I do want to thank all of you that voted in the poll. There's 13 of you. It's actually a pretty close poll. 54% of you liked Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom. 46% of you did not. That's essentially a one-vote split. So it's like through 12 votes, it was pretty much even. It was that 13th vote that kind of seals the deal. But we'll go ahead and end the poll there.
Well, if anyone wants to have, I was gonna say, if anyone wants some last minute votes, remember they lied to you about Ian Malcolm. He was in there for like 2 minutes.
True. I did like his narration at the end of the movie, though. Like, as all that stuff's going on, he's talking about all that stuff. And also, of course, like the post-credit scene. That was pretty cool. I mean, the idea of the are they pterodactyls or are they something else? I know there's different kinds of ones.
Pteranodon.
Yeah.
Pteranodon.
They're evil fucking birds.
Yeah, big dinosaur birds landing on the Eiffel Tower, the fake Eiffel Tower in Vegas. I thought was actually pretty interesting. And I mean, it gives you an idea as to where we're probably going to be in this movie with humans having to try to find some way to coexist and probably not doing a very good job with dinosaurs. But it was a pretty good movie, I thought. Jeremy, what are some of your final thoughts in this movie as we start to wrap things up?
You know what? At least this time you're not lying to me about Ian Malcolm actually being in the movie, and then you didn't have to triple down and put, Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler back in there. So I think you realized you understood the assignment this time.
But will he live?
Don't do that to me. If any of them die, I'm going to be so upset. And I know we're all rooting for Beta and Blue. I'm like, I don't want them to die.
Girl Blue.
like I said, I didn't wholeheartedly.
Better
hate
bring
this
some
movie.
anxiety pills. If she dies, I'm gonna need some Xanax.
I'm gonna cry. I didn't. Yeah, like I said, that was an emotional roller coaster they brought me on in this movie. So there was parts that I was invested in. I didn't hate it. It seemed, I guess, kind of like a logical progression, but just some of the like you said, for the shock factor of like, hey, that girl's a clone. See you next time, and then that's it. I'm like, hold on now.
Yeah.
And again, I'm like, screw you. You could have just opened the door, vented it out, but I know you wouldn't have another movie. Whatever. Yeah, that's kind of it. I wish there was more Ian Malcolm because you just kind of, as a whole, that thing we talked about Morbius, like, did they lie to us? I'm like, yes and no. You got me excited thinking he was in this movie, and then you're like, no, but he really wasn't. That was all you saw. I'm like, oh, well. So I don't know. I'm excited for the new movie at least. We'll see how this ends. My last thought is I saw something. I think it was from IGN, and they're like, oh, so far Dominion has like got like a 38% of Rotten Tomatoes. It's so bad. It's the worst review. And I'm like, okay. And do critics ever know what the hell they're talking about? No. It's someone very, very cleverly used the meme. They put Nedry in there like, bad reviews. We got bad reviews here. No one cares. I'm like, right. Who cares? See the movie. I'm like, I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I'm like, I don't suspect it could be bad. And that's the thing, is everyone was hating on this movie for it. Like, well, given that one, I'm like, you don't know. You could turn it around. But, yeah. That's where I'm at.
Lady Cora, how about you? Any final thoughts on Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom?
I honestly, at the end of it, feel like it could have been the ending of all Jurassic Park movies. Like, you just presume that the world has to start living with dinosaurs. Could have been the end, and I could have been okay with that. But I am glad there is another movie to see.
Well, now we're actually going to see it, yeah. So, like, where do you go from here?
You know, that's the question, isn't it? I guess we'll find out.
Yeah.
And I didn't read the spoilers, but I did get an overall vibe that critics are completely mixed on it. So that's either going to be really good or really bad.
But I think, like Frank's even said, like, when your job is to basically pick apart movies to bear nothing, like, you're not going to find any joy in it. So
yeah. Just go see
it. Disney collectively, they say in the non-spoiler articles that fans are going to either love it or hate it.
Well, thanks for that. That's what you do when you see a movie. You're like, love it or hate it.
True.
Wow, I never thought of it that way.
Fans are either going to like this movie a little,
you know what I mean.
like it a lot, or like it not at all. Duh.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, critics, for telling me the obvious. But Brittany Gamer, how about you, the dinosaur expert, our own version, our own variant of Alan Grant? What did you think of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom?
The dinosaur man.
Take the phone to mommy.
Someone did say you did hear his accent slip a little bit in that one.
It says mummy instead of mom.
It says mummy. Like, it kind of slips a little bit, yeah.
Looking at it as a Jurassic Park movie, it had dinosaurs. People got eaten by dinosaurs. And stupid people got eaten by dinosaurs. I enjoyed it. I wasn't a huge fan of the story. There was too many, or stories, I guess you could say. The problem is with Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, is they try to focus on too many stories at once. And you just get kind of lost on, okay, whose story am I on again? What's going on here? Let's not do this. But overall, again, it was. I think it was a good movie. I know I have the unpopular opinion on that with most of Rotten Tomatoes, apparently, just as some of us do with Jurassic Park 3. It had what people want when they go see a movie about dinosaurs. It had dinosaurs. It had some aspects that were horror. It had some comedic, but above all, it had people being eaten by dinosaurs and stupid people being eaten by dinosaurs. You sit there and you go, I don't like them. I want to see them get eaten. We got what we wanted.
When we said eat the rich, this is what we meant. Just let the dinosaurs on them.
That's fine.
As for me, I get a little tired of the whole some suit and tie asshole wants to try to make profit off the dinosaurs. I'm like, you've got
But that makes sense.
You've got a bajillion people in Hollywood that are trying to write stories. You can't tell me one of them didn't have an original idea that you could have folded into this. That kind of bothers me. The ethical question with the whole human cloning aspect of it, with Macy being a human clone, you could have used that as a bit of an allegory to further the ethical conundrum of, should you have done this in the first place? Should you do it at all? The thing that they mentioned in the first movie that he says is, you're so occupied with whether you could, you didn't stop to think of whether you should. And I think it's something that has never really... It has at times been explored a little deeper in the franchise, but it's never been given the real weight that it needed. Because that was a great line that he delivers right at that moment in that film, and it's never really expanded upon over the course of the rest of the franchise. It's become, at this point, not as blatantly terrible as Fast and the Furious, but it is becoming a bit droll. It's just like, there's only so many times that I can watch, board member X of InGen or Biosyn or whoever want to sell Raptors to some foreign army or arms dealer or whatever. It's not even cookie cutter. It seems lazy to a point after the third or fourth movie where you kind of do this. But visually, this movie's every bit as badass as the rest of them. I do like the fact that they try to, because there's only so many times that you can see a T-Rex whoop someone's ass before you get a little bored. So the idea of creating new kinds of dinosaurs with all this mixture of DNA makes sense. I mean, logically, it's kind of, it's something you have to do at some point over the course of this franchise. So I don't have any problem with them doing that. But I don't have any problem with the cast. The cast is awesome. I remember seeing this movie thinking to myself, Ian Malcolm's in this movie again. It's going to be so great. 3 minutes at the beginning, 3 minutes at the end. And while I loved his dialogue and loved the role that he played, I think it would have served the movie better if the movie itself would have been a bit of a flashback, and it would have happened around his testimony to this body of politicians that he's giving. So as he's telling people why we shouldn't be doing this, or why we should just let the dinosaurs, get burned up on the island, that you're playing this thing out over the course of the movie, and then you get to that last piece of his dialogue, and that kind of sums up the whole thing. I feel like that would have been better, because you could have had him in the movie a lot more, instead of really. I remember thinking to myself when I first saw this movie in theaters years ago that all of Ian Malcolm that is in the movie is actually in the trailers. They used him to sell the movie, even though he's not in any of the movie that you hadn't seen in the trailers. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was kind of shitty. I didn't really like that. I mean, I didn't need him to go back to the island and be a part of things again. But if you're going to have him there to be the voice of the ethical conundrum that exists in this franchise, I think you have to use him a lot more than just a couple minutes at the end, a couple minutes at the beginning, a couple minutes at the end. That didn't make much sense to me. But I mean, the action's there because, it's a Jurassic World movie, so the action's there. Ted Levine, who plays the guy who is the big asshole of the movie, the first guy that he walks in the cage with the Indoraptor and is the first one to get his arm torn off and eaten. It's like I like him in the movie. I like a lot of the cast, but again, I mean, there were some things here they could have explored and made it a better movie. Just kind of didn't. So I don't think that the franchise is quite dead yet. I think there's other things you can do.
Don't you mean extinct?
Yeah. I don't think it's quite extinct yet. It probably will be when this movie's over. But I want to see them explore different things. And I was talking about it a couple weeks ago. I want this next movie, Dominion, to be kind of like a Planet of the Apes. And I heard Robert Meyer Burnett kind of explain this about how dinosaurs have kind of taken over the Earth, and there are pockets of humanity that are trying to find some way to not get completely blown out by these creatures that we created, that we let out because we were stupid, like human beings sometimes tend to be, and we kind of ran ourselves to extinction because of a series of terrible decision making. So
I mean, come on, we lost a war in Australia fighting emus. Those are big birds that are basically dinosaurs. I mean, we can't even fight that. We're not fighting raptors.
Yeah, but
look, man, I'm just our track record isn't great.
But yeah, I know that and I know we've talked about it already the last few minutes. This next movie coming up, Dominion's kind of getting some shitty reviews. I don't personally believe the critics. I mean, remember, Siskel and Ebert didn't like Star Wars when it first came out in 1977, and here we are today. They gave it 2 thumbs down, and I'm pretty sure they were regretting that one for a long time. But so I'm going to go see the movie. I'm going to go see it with an open mind. I want to see what the story is. I want to see how it progresses and then eventually ends for these characters. I want to see how this story ends, and I hope this is kind of an ending, because I honestly, at this point, after this movie, I'd almost rather see a reboot than to see them try to figure out some way to shoehorn Jurassic whatever, the first movie of the new trilogy. Yeah, Jurassic Universe. They're now dinosaurs on Mars.
What if they flash forward 30 years or something?
I don't know. But like I said, it depends on the story.
Or a prequel of when this log or whatever his guy name was, Maisie's dad and Hammond met each other. And when they first came up with this idea.
The problem is you don't get the dinosaurs in that story.
Yeah.
Because we don't get the dinosaurs until Jurassic Park. And by the time we get the dinosaurs at Jurassic Park, presumably anyway, Hammond and Lockwood have gone their separate ways because of whatever. Now, I wouldn't mind seeing maybe like a Disney Plus or HBO Max. I think Universal would probably put it on HBO Max, or maybe Peacock.
I'm surprised Universal doesn't have their own streaming service this point.
Yeah.
What I wouldn't mind seeing like a limited series of Lockwood and maybe Hammond going through all this that ends with Lockwood and Hammond, making their split, and then Hammond going off and doing Jurassic Park, and Lockwood doing whatever. But I don't think that's ever going to happen. I mean, it would be more of an emotional, character-driven thing. It would be something driven by the visuals of dinosaurs fighting each other in the jungle. But
Fast and the Furious, Lockwood and Hammond.
Well, we got Hobbs and Shaw, Lockwood and Hammond.
I know. Lockwood and Hammond.
We're right at Florida Universal. Listen to me, damn it. But I mean, I don't know. I'm going to go into this with an open mind because I want it to be good. If it disappoints me, then it disappoints me. I was planning on going to see it tonight, but the last showing actually started about 45 minutes ago, so probably not enough time to do that. So I'll have to wait to go see it Sunday.
I wanted to watch some C-SPAN stuff with the stuff going on in D.C. tonight. It was starting at primetime tonight, but Jurassic Park's more important than that, so I'm here.
We like dinosaurs more than we like our own government.
Damn right.
Awesome.
There we go.
Hey, our own government's one of the people that were fucking this up. I bet you. I bet you Hammond even got some government funding. Damn it.
He probably did.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Took that down to Costa Rica and was like, I got an idea.
Always the government screwing things up.
Yeah.
Gonna fund Jurassic Park. It's gonna be huge.
There's more with dinosaurs than I do.
We make these dinosaurs and make them very bigly. We make them very bigly.
We're gonna make New Blark great again. I promise.
It'll be beautiful.
The dinosaur's gonna have so many teeth. It's gonna have more teeth than any dinosaur ever. It's gonna be the best dinosaur ever made.
It's the Trumposaurus.
I know. They'll be part of the Space Force.
Good.
Right.
Elon Jeremy, I'm telling you, dude.
Elon Musk is gonna put them on one of these dragon capsules.
He's gonna be rich Nick who put them into space.
I'm telling you, Jeremy, if you could come up with a John Hammond, Donald Trump combination costume,
God damn it.
You just walk around and be like, I'm gonna make New Blark big again.
We're gonna make one called the Trumposaurus. It's the best dinosaur that's ever existed.
I call it the Trump Raptor. It's got like those quills, but they're always folded over on one
They're
side.
just fucking like blonde. It's got to be an orange dinosaur, obviously. Like
we're gonna call it the Bad Come Overasaurus.
No, Frank, when you run for president in 2024, your platform should be, I will bring Jurassic Park to life for real.
Make
dinosaurs happen.
There we go.
Make Jurassic Park great again.
This is my running mate, Blue. She's a very clever girl, I promise. We have so many things in
clever girl. She's a clever girl. She's so smart.
She's cleverest of girls.
We're gonna ban Endoraptors, I promise. First day in office.
And you know what? Blue would win every debate because if she lost, she would just eat her opponent.
You're right.
Gonna build a wall.
You're supposed to cook that one.
I'm gonna build a fence, a really big fence.
A really big fence.
We're gonna make the dinosaurs pay for it.
Gonna keep all the hybrids out.
Make the hybrids pay for it. Damn it, you're not real dinosaurs.
Coming
into my park.
Blue running for president.
I'd vote for her. Why not?
Hey.
Vote Blue or I'll eat you.
What country would pick a fight with us at that point? Be like, wait a minute, it's a dinosaur?
Oh, amen.
Russia.
It's going to be Owen and Blue for president. I got you.
Blue will be like, just put me on a fucking plane. I'm going to handle this shit myself. Don't send the army.
Right.
I'm going to deal with this shit myself.
I got this,
I'm going to eat all of Iran. They have nuclear weapons. We're eating Iran. Send me over there.
He's going to be Air Force One.
He's going to be the best Secretary of Defense ever.
Damn right.
God damn.
I do want to thank all of my kick-ass co-hosts for being here through this whole journey, going through all the Jurassic Park / Jurassic World movies. Lady Cora, where can the folks at home find you?
Nowhere. I'll be here on Thursdays. That's it.
You'll be here Monday, though, right?
Oh, yeah. I just mean regularly. Yes.
Yes.
Monday.
Regularly here. She is the one person that keeps me and Jeremy and Brooding Gamer lately in check.
And also is responsible for many squirrel moments. Let's be very honest.
Well, we all have them here and there.
We've been doing that.
In all fairness, we're all kind of prone to that kind of thing.
We didn't just talk about Trump and dinosaurs running for president, so.
We did. And my hetero life mate, Jeremy, what do you have going on the internets, my friend?
Well, yeah, I'm also here. Also here on Thursdays and Mondays for the big movie reviews. And over on Twitch, I've been going. Well, I went back to Lego Star Wars again. I recently, if you haven't noticed, right over here next to my head, right there. We did the Optimus Prime build. I think it was on Monday because we weren't quite sure if we were going to be able to do it with Rachel going on vacation, which is where she's at right now. So. That being said, I did Lego Star Wars again. We finally completed it, so now we're just dicking around trying to find everything. I had a lot of help from Zach over there. So again, with her being gone next week, this next Tuesday, I'll obviously be on there again with him. Or if he doesn't want to, screw it. I'll play the game by myself. I don't really care. And yeah, I'm also sometimes I do stuff with Brooding Gamer. I had a really weird brainwave the other day, and I'm like, wait a minute, there's something we can film here.
We'll talk about that.
We're in the works of. I did just do a little mention to it. If I just went, Dotson, we got Dotson here. That's your hint. That's your hint. Yeah, I think that'll be really cool to see. I don't really know what we plan on using it for, but that'll be fun. Yeah. So, lastly, I'm on Twitter. That's where you pretty much find every update. That's probably the best place to be. Just come follow that because you'll see when stuff goes down. Scrim Tuesday 23 on everything.
On all platforms, that's where you find him. And then, our Alan Grant variant, our very own dinosaur expert in the Jurassic films, as well as actual dinosaurs. It is a passion of his, which is why we've been so blessed to have him on here. Our friend, the Brooding Gamer. What's going on? What do you got going on your channel lately, man?
It's been a lot of Dominion coverage. A lot of really just covering all the Dominion crossovers into Jurassic World Evolution 2. We've kind of taken a step back from the toy hunting for a little bit, seeing as how there's not really much out. It's expensive. And now we're kind of right. And now we're just kind of focusing on covering what was I going with? The game. And as a good little bit of a note, I received my first YouTube paycheck, which was awesome.
Nice.
Congratulations.
The hell out of me because I didn't know where the money came from, and I was panicking. I'm like, I'm been hot wired into the mafia, and then
Get an
finally,
accountant, buddy. That's all I gotta say.
I got
Don't fall in that trap.
The what?
Get an accountant. Don't fall in the trap of not doing your taxes right with that shit. We'll be like Todd Chrisley.
that has happened. But yeah, you can go check out the Brooding Gamer. He is linked in the description below with the other gamers that I like to put out there, like Casey is Raw and the Rose Gaming. As for me, I just want to thank real quick all the people in the chat: David Patrick, Federico Garcia, MK Kratos. God, who else was in here? My girlfriend Jennifer was in here at some point, trying to get my attention.
Rachel was for a moment, I think.
Jeremy's wonderful mother BJ was in here, of course. Cora was also in here. Jeremy doing the wrench stuff. Rachel was in here for a little bit. Probably still is at some point. Thank you to all of you. Derek Hance. Also, Derek Hance, if you're still listening, I need you to DM me on Twitter your email so I can send you your movie money that I meant to send you like a month and a half ago. But thanks to all of you also who voted in the poll. Again, a very, very close poll. Basically one vote, 53 to 46, saying that yes, they did like Jurassic World. And also don't forget that we will be here on Monday at about 8:15 to break down Jurassic World Dominion. We will all be seeing it this weekend. We will be here Monday at 8:15 to give you all of our good spoilery thoughts on that. Make sure you go down as soon as I get that put into YouTube. Make sure you go down and put the reminder on for that. And as far as I'm concerned, you can find me here every Thursday going over all the craziness that happens in the world of TV entertainment. You can find me over the Derailed podcast on Sundays at 9, going over all the other crazy stuff going on in the world. Also, don't forget, I haven't been pressing a lot lately because I've just been forgetting, but you see down in the corner down there, 500 subscribers is still the goal. We will be doing a charity stream for the Abandoned Pet Project as soon as we get to 500 subscribers. So help us out by sharing the stream, sharing the channel out, getting us up to 500 subscribers. That's going to go a long way towards helping some of these pets that have been kind of abandoned. I mean, a lot of these people went and got these companion pets during the pandemic because they couldn't go out and do the stuff they would normally do. Now that the pandemic is getting closer and closer to an end, a lot of these people are just returning these pets to shelters. Some assholes are just letting them go out in the streets to fend for themselves. A lot of these animals are getting hurt. And what the Abandoned Pet Project does is it helps get funding together to help not only nurse these animals back to health, pay their veterinary bills, but it also helps to get them all rehomed. One of my favorite YouTubers, Matt Carricker, he has his Vet Wrench channel on YouTube where his veterinary clinic actually works with the Abandoned Pet Project to help get these animals, sometimes that are hours away from euthanation from being put to sleep. They will take them to their veterinary clinic, they will nurse them back to health, and they will rehome them. They have a lot of videos on there about the process of doing that with a bunch of different animals. So it's something that I really want to support, and you guys can get a chance to support that too. All we gotta do is get up to 500 subscribers and we'll do a charity stream. Or you can just go find the Abandoned Pet Project somewhere on the internet and you can donate money to them as well. I've donated
I
money
hate to
them
do this.
before.
I have to get off here. There's some guy running through my yard.
Go take care of that.
Tell him you have a pet velociraptor.
But I do want to thank all of you, and now that my camera's
I got a
running,
blue here, and I
screwed
never
up.
to use it.
Hey, now that my
Oh.
okay, Jeremy
You're
is not
anyway.
Frank. I'm not Brooding Gamer, and Jeremy did not turn his camera off. But that's a good place to
Right.
wrap things up. I want to thank all of you for coming to hang out with us tonight. We will see you guys all on Monday. Adios.
Yeah.
Bye.